We're more concerned about giving you the latest and best information. So thank you for that, Eric. Appreciate it. But we were looking at this just before we hit the air. We've got decent circulation all throughout the atmosphere. Level 1, the lowest level, up to level 2, level 3, and even level 5 or level 4. So we were looking at this at multiple layers of the atmosphere, and there was distinctive rotation throughout. So right now, National Weather Service issuing the tornado warning. That's, again, is for Cross County and southwestern Poinsett County, and just putting a track on this from the area of circulation itself. It is moving off to the north and northeast. Again, wind, you are in good shape, but Tilton, you're right in the path of it. So 130, that's going to move on through. You've got about 6 minutes to get to your storm shelter or the safe place in your home. Hydrant coming in at about 158. So those are a couple of communities that are in the path of the storm itself. And taking a look at the overall structure, there's a lot of rain that's accompanying this. And as a matter of fact, just putting this into motion for you, you can see all that precipitation that's moving on in. I think we're going to see some massive flooding in northeastern Arkansas. Forecast models indicating the possibility of another 5 to possibly as much as 8 inches of rain coming our way tonight and through the day tomorrow as this storm system continues to move on through. By the way, Forest City, we're going to keep a close eye on St. Francis County and your area because you've got some heavy rain that's coming into play right now. But we're with you at this time simply because the tornado warning that is in effect right now, it's going to go until 2 a.m. That tornado warning, again, for Poinsett and Cross counties, that is going to go again until 2 a.m. That's what I'm looking at there. And Eric, I see you've got the updated skit on that.
Yep.
Any new information?
So the BTI, that Barron Tornado Index, that ranges from 1 to 10, it is now at a 4.1. We did have that number just at a 7.0 here just a little while ago.
So it's coming down.
Right.
I thought it was inching up a little bit.
So it went from a 7.0 to a 4.0 to a 4.1. So you are right about it literally just inching up here just a hair over the last time we just got this update here. So worthwhile to make a specific note about that. If we dive a little bit closer into this here, some communities that could be affected by this, we're looking at Central, Hamlin, Fair Oaks, and as a reminder, this is in western Cross County over in Arkansas right now, right along Orlando Johnson Road, U.S. Highway 49 and U.S. Highway, what do we have over there? 193. Those are the general areas that we're keeping an eye on right now, or the specific areas as we track this town by town and literally road by road here as this is moving off to the east and northeast here. So, Ron, the good news about this is not confirmed on the ground, but with this first tornado warning, we're hoping that this is going to be the only one that we'll see throughout the duration of the day on Saturday. We potentially have a long rest of the day ahead.
I tell you, and it's right over Fair Oaks right now. Let me zoom in just a little tighter on that. By the way, flood warnings back to the west for central Arkansas. Those are going to be in place till about 3:45 this morning. But more specifically, we're keeping a close eye on the potential rotation that's right there around Fair Oaks, Arkansas. So one tornado warning right now, and really that's the only tornado warning we've seen. Friday's been a first alert weather day in the Action News 5 coverage area. We had a couple of cells that we thought were going to tornado over northern Mississippi, even moving into West Tennessee, but it all stayed well to our west throughout the day today. Right now, again, a tornado watch remains in effect for northeastern Arkansas. Cross County, Poinsett County included in this. Mississippi County, you need to make sure you've got your weather radio on if you're getting ready to go to bed tonight, or if you're up and at 'em once again. Just make sure your weather radio is on and you've got your smartphone or tablet right by your bed with the First Alert Weather app loaded on there, so if any additional warnings are issued, you're going to get your first alert right there. Tell you what, let's track it out from Fair Oaks right now. I'm going to clear this out of here. We're going to put another track, and tell you what, I'm going to go to the next route, and we'll just put a B track on this simply because I think we're likely going to see this kind of start to spread out, and we may even see some winds in advance of that too. So Fairfield 145, that's where it's going to move into next. That is the closest community that is that's in proximity to this area of rotation and this possible tornado as it's moving on through the area. Eric, any new info from the National Weather Service on what they're looking at, or any characteristics of this storm that we may not see that they are?
Nope, it's been pretty tame on the front over there ever since they issued that tornado warning here at 1:12. They haven't noted anything about that given warning quite yet. It is set to expire here at 2 o'clock. The time right now is 1:28. and it is moving to the northeast here per the National Weather Service at about 45 miles per hour. When I was tracking it earlier on, we were talking about this. It looked like it was moving at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So worthwhile to point that out here as well. As far as why...
we've got some wind moving
there's a lot of wind
St.
with this.
Francis County right now, and even coming on into Lee County. You can see that pretty well defined right there. No rotation within it, but it looks like there may be a little straight line wind with that.
I think for Wynn, Arkansas, for those of you that live over there, even if you don't have rain right now, there's a good chance you're seeing some lightning out there in the distance. Maybe you woke up from some thunder, and you're going to see some really strong winds here rather shortly. The good news is it does look like the cluster or the potential tornado warned area is going to stay just to your north here. But you still want to treat this as if it's a tornado warning that is on the ground here as a safe than sorry sort of measure. So, Ron, I guess the good news is we haven't had this confirmed on the ground, but we're certainly keeping a really close eye on it.
And I tell you what, I want to track this whole line because we've got this Boeing segment that's associated with that. So let's put a track on the leading edge of this right now, because at the very least, you're going to get some heavy rain from this as it continues to move off to the east-northeast. So I'll kind of follow along in the same direction of that polygon of sorts. But what we're tracking here is the leading edge of the very heavy rain that could also bring in some brief but very strong wind gusts. So wind right around 142. Not tracking again the tornado, but tracking the heavy rain and the potential for some straight line winds. Forest City, 155, Jonesboro, 208. It's been an active day up around Craighead County in northeast Arkansas, and now the rain and more coming your way. Earl, Arkansas, 218. Should get into Turl at about 239. Then it's going to move on into Big Lake at about 250. Blythefield should get in there at about 311, and then move on into Shelby Forest at 320. And that's if it continues on its current path and continues to move east. We had really expected to see storms starting to approach the Mississippi River by about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, but due to a strong southerly flow just kind of working as a bit of a blocking mechanism, and then we've got high pressure. It's off the eastern seaboard, but it is a significant ridge of high pressure, and it served as just a big blocking mechanism to keep these storms moving off to the north and northeast. But it's also been feeding a lot of warm, moist air into the leading edge of that. So we've still got a very unstable environment that remains in this area right here. So we can't let our guard down as we get into the overnight hours. And that's why we're with you tonight, to track these storms and get you through it. So once again, we've got a tornado warning that's in effect for Cross and Poinsett counties. That's going to go until 2 o'clock this morning. So we got about another 30 minutes left on this. It will be interesting to see if the National Weather Service cancels that early or allows it to just go ahead and expire on its own. But again, let's take a closer look at it and see if we can still depict the rotation that was in it that was really obvious as it was in Woodruff County, and you can almost see a little bit of an inflow notch there. One of the things to note as well right now, because we've got this Boeing segment here, and you probably heard me talk about this before. I got the wrong feature on here. I want to clear that off. But because we have this little Boeing segment right here, oftentimes we can get some winds feeding into this area here as it moves off to the east, and it gives it a little bit of a rotation. So as these winds are moving out, but you've got some wind feeding in, you get a little bit of rotation right there. And so with that, you can get a quick spin up storm or tornado, which may very well be what we are seeing. Although it looks like, you see that little area right there? Looks like that may be trying to hold together just a little bit. So that's what I'm going to look at. That's what I'm going to put a track on. Let's clear this out of here and let's track it from that area that's right there now. I'll put the next rad track on here, and we'll just leave it with that and move it forward. I'll follow again along the polygon because it is moving more northerly and more north-northeast than due east. So with that, Cherry Valley, 147, Bay Village, about 154. We're going to see it get into Harrisburg at 158, then into Greenfield, 203. Should move into Boat Run right around 207, and then moving into Mulligan at about 210. Look at the big picture right now. The area that we're really watching currently and closely is really northeastern Arkansas, and that's where we have seen copious amounts of rainfall today. And now all of this is going to make a push to the east. And look, Today, Saturday, our final first alert weather day, but we may have a very long day to get through. Did I just see a severe thunderstorm
Correct.
warning that just went into effect?
Yep.
So, yeah, now we've got a severe thunderstorm warning, and that is going to be, and that's a big polygon, and I think that's based right there on that wind. Are they mentioning straight line wind potential with this?
So, Ron, that is warned. It's until 2:15 as you're popping up there right now, and that is for 60-mile-per-hour winds and sub-severe hail. Looking like nickel-sized hail is a possibility there.
All right, so that's what we're looking at. Here's a look once again at the big picture. We were tracking those winds moments ago. So now severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 2:15. Crittenden, Cross, Lee, St. Francis counties. I think we may see some of that wind make its way on into the Memphis metro as well as that continues to push to the east. It does look like it is moving in this direction. So Shelby Forest, you may be more susceptible to seeing something out of this. Northwestern Shelby County, with the storms that came through Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, has really been in a hot spot lately, but in close proximity to all the activity we've seen up around northeastern Arkansas. But we've still got a lot of storm ravaged areas in parts of West Tennessee and northern Mississippi from storms earlier this week. So this is what we're looking at right now. Our main concern at this time is the tornado warning that was issued by the National Weather Service, and that tornado warning remaining in effect until 2 a.m. But now we've got a severe thunderstorm warning also overlapping that. So the area of circulation right here, but the potential for straight line winds exists well north and south of that, and will push off to the east as it continues to move on into that direction. Eric, you're looking at power outages. Interesting. We've got 100 outages in Shelby County, but the real power outages are back to the west.
Yep, and I got a report here that somebody has a family member that's over to the west side of Wynn, and that their power had gone out here. That's what made me pop this up to see exactly what we had for some of those outages here into St. Francis and Cross counties. And you've heard Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers talking about those strong winds that are moving from the west to the east right now with this line of severe thunderstorms that are scooting to the east right now into northeast Arkansas. A little closer to Little Rock, that's not really a surprise. That's where there are some more power outages where the winds have been embedded there over the past few hours, and really ever since prior to sunset for that matter here. So as we have going on here from a wide view of things, we're quiet yet again to the south of I-40 and to the east of I-55. So if you're in Shelby County, if you're in Fayette County, Hardeman, McNairy counties, all throughout northern Mississippi, right now it's quiet. I don't really think you have to worry about much, at least over the next couple of hours here. We'll note as we do start getting a little bit closer to sunrise, and especially after about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, that's when you really want to start to monitor things here as far as the severe weather potential goes. With all that said, if we turn around and see what we have for this skit number right here, the BTI, or that Barron Tornado Index, it is at a 3.9. The hail size, we're looking here maybe at about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, so nothing too terribly big.
And only about a 20% chance of hail.
But Ron, we did just actually get a new tornado warning that includes Crittenden, St. Francis, Cross, and Poinsett counties here. And that looks to be moving off to the northeast here. I'm going to imagine about 50 miles per hour, and that it is to the northeast here at about 50 miles per hour. So the box I want you to keep an eye on here, let me turn some of this information off here. This is the new box that's starting to pop up here. It does include Wynn as well as Earl, and not West Memphis. While it does include Crittenden County, it doesn't specifically include the city of West Memphis. Forest City, especially on the north side of town, your first alert there if you're in Caldwell, Wynn, all along Highway, what do we have over here? Is it Highway 1? That's where you want to keep an eye on from really Wynn all the way into Forest City right now. But yet again, no confirmed tornadoes on the ground, Ron.
So is it that rotation near Smith's Chapel they're looking at?
That's what I would lean towards more than anything else, yeah.
Tell you what, let me take a closer look at it.
Sure.
Let's see what's going on. First of all, I want to show you the lightning itself really starting to increase with this. And basically an untapped environment today. So a lot of heat, a lot of moisture still left within that area, but we were getting about 300 and something strikes a little while ago, and now look at this, up to 620 lightning strikes on that view. So again, an indication that this is showing some signs of intensification. But to give you an idea of the tornado warnings we're dealing with right now, we've got one that is for Cross and Poinsett County, northwestern Cross, southwestern Poinsett County. That's going to go until 2 a.m. But now a new tornado warning just issued by the National Weather Service south of that. This is going to be for Crittenden, Cross, Poinsett, and St. Francis County. counties. So taking a closer look, let's zoom in. I tell you what, let me go ahead and zoom into this area. I'm going to take off the lightning and we'll see if we can see any areas of potential rotation that may be in there. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit tighter, so bear with me for just a second. So we're doing live radar analysis right here on television right now. So you're kind of seeing how we operate whenever we're just checking out general thunderstorms and storms that may be forming. So I'm going to put the storm relative velocity on here. A little bit of rotation, couple of areas.
So National Weather Service, while you're kind of on, you're about to point it here, pretty much right on the cross St. Francis County line, right to the north of Colt. That's where they're especially keeping a close eye on.
Okay, so they're looking at this little area.
Right by Smith's Chapel, as you said, too.
Is that it?
Bingo.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's it. That's what I was thinking moments ago. So I tell you what, let's put, and look, Eric, so a couple of areas. We were talking about bookend vortices. One right here, the Bow Echo right here. It's kind of booming out right there. And then you get another one right down here. So we've got bookend vortices on this Bow Echo as it's moving on through. So I tell you what, let's clear that off.
I do think specifically right below where it says wind, pretty much, yeah, right in there. That's where they're looking the most specific.
Okay, that's where they were looking, because I was looking at what's going on down here, and when I remove the scope, I see it's not in the tornado warned area.
But hey, Ron, I mean, we got to monitor that whole entire line because these things will spin up here real quick.
Yeah, so let me look at it one more time. Right, and there's a lot of circulation right there around Wynn. Look, if you're in Wynn, get in your storm shelter. If you're watching, you're in Wynn, Arkansas, and Cross County, get to your storm shelter right now. Eric, I'm going to let you take it down to street level in just a second. Let me put a quick track on this just to give you an idea of where this may go and who this may impact. I'm going to put a tighter, more specific track on this, and we'll take it in this direction, following along the polygon itself. So Wynn 142, 2 minutes away basically, although I'm tracking it just a little farther out, but 142, then into Levesque, right around 149. Princedale should move in there at about 156. Parkin 203, then it moves on into Coldwater at about 205, 211 into Twist, Three Forks at 216, and then we'll see that move into Galilee right around 223. If this keeps moving in the direction that it has been moving and at its current speed, looks like that's going to clip Shelby County, northwestern Shelby County most likely. By the way, Forest City, it's bearing down on you right now. Looks like the rotation is to the north of you, but there is a potential for brief rotation to spin up anywhere along that main line. Zooming out, take a look at the big picture here. Everything is calm in West Tennessee, northern Mississippi. We are starting to see a few showers develop right there around Coahoma and Quitman counties. It'll be interesting to see what those do as they move north and feed into the system. But at this time, 2 active tornado warnings, one for northwestern Cross County, southwestern Poinsett County until 2 o'clock. And then we've got the other tornado warning right now, primarily for Cross, Crittenden, and St. Francis counties. That is going to go until 2:15. So that's what we're looking at here. That is a look once again at the big picture. Eric, before I toss it back to you, I want to put one track to give folks in Shelby County an idea of when this line may be impacting us. So I'll track it from all the way down into the north and northeast. And if that occurs, probably, well, Forest Cities or Shelby Farms isn't showing up there, but Millington looks like it's going to get in there at about 3:18. So between now and about 3:55, we're talking about Earl, Turl, Marion, Blythefield, Millington, Covington, and Dyersburg. You're in for some very heavy rain and the possibility of some strong straight line winds that will be capable of doing damage. What kind of wind speeds are you seeing on that, or are you?
So, Ron, it seems like the wind speeds, I haven't looked at those specifically right now, but the thing I wanted to point out first is all the lightning that's going on right now, and this is on our Best Care Home Services camera in Midtown Memphis looking towards downtown Memphis. Now, while we don't have any specific thunderstorms right now on top of Shelby County, this is looking all the way over into that severe warned storm right now that is over into into St. Francis and Cross counties. And that is a good, let's see here, I'm going to say 30 miles or so away from this camera location. Heck, even further than that, about 50 miles away. So that is something that is rather notable here, just as far as the quantity of lightning that we do have embedded within this severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning for that matter too. All right, let's dive a little bit closer and let's get into that street view here and see what we have going on with some of those communities here around the Mid-South and specifically over into Wynne, Arkansas. Got a look at that severe thunderstorm warning that extends just to the north of Wynne all the way down close to Forest City. The area we specifically want to keep an eye on is in Wynne, Arkansas, right along State Highway 1. This is an area that just got hit by a tornado here going back just over 2 years ago. And obviously we don't want anybody to get hit by a tornado, but we still have to treat each and every single severe thunderstorm or tornado warning for that matter as if they are a tornado warn storm that is on the ground.
Eric, the tornado warning for for northwestern Cross, southwestern Poinsett, they're canceling that.
Copy
so
that.
We're down to 1 right now, right there, primarily for moving right on through Cross and St. Francis counties.
That is obviously a great thing to see, Ron.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can see it really just between Colt and Wynne now, it looks like. That's where the potential emphasis is. Notice as far as these greens and these, the green, once you start seeing these really bright greens, at the least here, we have some very strong winds near Fitzgerald's Crossing roads, County Road 647, State Highway 1. State Highway 1 extends all the way from Wynne, Arkansas down into Forest City here. So that is certainly a road that has its issues when it comes to tornado warnings in the past. As far as the shear rate goes, it does seem like we have a little bit of spin in the sky. There's some sort of good news that we can look forward to. It's the fact that it looks like the main center of circulation on this run is just to the south of Wynne, but by golly, it is really close right now. Other areas to keep an eye on: Whittsburg over towards Flag Lake Crossing, the U.S. Highway 64 bus route over towards Levesque, County Road 411. Yet again, this is over into St. Francis County, or Cross County rather, that we are keeping a close eye on. Looking down the road here, Parkin and Earl. Make sure you're in that safe spot. Make sure you know exactly where that is because you are in this tornado warning and this is headed in your direction. Ron, right now that BTI number is a 3.9, so the number's been fluctuating here right around a 4 right now. But as far as where we have that line originating from, it's not right at that center of circulation, so it's possible it could be just a touch higher right in the middle of that circulation.
And look, folks in Wynne, Arkansas, still storm weary as a result of the storms that moved through there March 31st, 2023. So we're tracking storms now in close proximity and once again moving through Cross County. The lightning is really something else on there. I'm going to put the home view on here just to take some of that lightning off. And I want to put a track once again on the main line. So just to bring you up to speed quickly, we've still got 1 tornado warning in effect. That's going to go until 2:15. Crittenden, Cross, Poinsett counties, you're included in this again until 2:15. So we're watching this very closely right now. As Eric mentioned, no confirmed tornado on the ground and no debris signature with this as well, or at least that ball signature. But you know what I am seeing right here, Eric? Right there around Forest City, that may be sending a little something aloft due to the strong wind that's in the area. So we may see some branches or leaves or what have you, some sort of non-precipitative something in the atmosphere there.
Worthwhile to note, Ron, the National Weather Service just agreeing with what we're thinking here as far as strong circulation going on just on the south side of Wynne.
Okay, and there I'm seeing it really well. Let me clear this off one more time, and I'm going to zoom in just a little tighter too, and we'll put another track on that. So there it is right there. There is that tight rotation. You can see it right there, just over Wynne, Arkansas. And really, that's coming right through the town of Wynne right now. Let me zoom in, take a closer look at that, give you a better idea of where that is going to go. Eric, you had it right down to street level. That's pretty impressive. That's getting ready to cross Highway 64. So I'm going to put a track on this from that area of circulation and rotation. We'll take it in this direction. That's going to bring it into Levesque at about 150, then into Whittsburg, right around 150 as well. So Levesque, Whittsburg, you're on track to get, at the very least, a strong gust of wind, but the possibility of a tornado coming right between you or possibly impacting one or both communities. Then Riverfront 154 should move into Princedale right around 156. You've got an interesting look I'm looking down on, I have Eric's monitor down just below the one I'm looking at right now. That's an interesting look on that you have there. And I think that may be due to, again, just kind of that rotation within it.
And you want to know
that is clearing that out.
You want to know one thing that's actually really good, I think, for us to talk about right here, Ron, out loud? The fact that there's nothing in between the radar site and where this is warned right now. So this is a straight shot with the radar going right into this here. So nothing is going to convolute what that's going to look like as far as that view goes. So as far as what we have going on with that Doppler radar here across the Mid-South, yet again, along 55 and to the east. So let's just count off Shelby County within that. I know it slices through the middle of Shelby County, but it's just easier, honestly, to say it that way. And heck, let's just say this. East of the Mississippi River, right now, you don't have any sort of warnings. You might see some lightning out there in the distance. I say no warnings, which is true, but there is still that tornado watch that is around for Lauderdale and Dyer counties, and that is until, Ron, do you remember off the top of your head?
Did we just get visual confirmation on this? Look, I just got a new polygon. Let me show you this. So whenever we see a polygon that is red with a white outline, that's
we have an observed tornado.
So we do have an observed tornado. Did it go through Wynn, Arkansas? That's what I want to know. So because that circulation was right there on Wynn. But whenever you see a red polygon outlined in white, that's an indication that that is a confirmed tornado. There is either there are either storm spotters in and around that area, or they've gotten confirmation from law enforcement or someone. So let's put another track on this. I'm going to do it this way, and then I'll track it from Wynn, really. And we'll go to the north and east, follow along that polygon. So again, Lebesque 153, Parkin 204, should get into Coldwater at about 209, then moves on into Earl at 213, Boat Run 220. It'll get into Crawfordsville 225, Mark Tree 231, and then we'll see that move into Marion. I'm going to back out just a little bit because I want to track this entire Bow Echo as it is moving on through with the confirmed tornado right along the leading edge. So tell you what, let's track it from its area of most intense precipitation all the way down to the south. We'll track it off to the north and northeast, and I'm just going to move it along I-40, all right? So, or just along and north of I-40, right around the Memphis Metro. So Forest City 150, you're going to get some very strong wind, very heavy rain. Then Earl 214, Turl 234, should move into Marion right around 251. Blytheville, we'll see it come in around 311, then moves into Covington at 333, Raleigh at 339, and then into Dyersburg at 358. Something to keep in mind, Cross, Poinsett counties, as well as Mississippi County, Lauderdale and Dyer County still under a tornado watch until 4 a.m. A watch meaning conditions are favorable, and quite frankly, I think any area along and north of the 40 corridor is favorable for additional tornadic activity. But right now, getting indications that there is a tornado on the ground near Wynn, Arkansas, within this polygon-warned storm as it's coming on through. I'm going to take a look at the new scope. Eric, if you've got something new, let me know. But looks like we've got a little notch right there. And I'll draw it out for you. It's whenever we see these red and green polygon or red and green pixels coming together, and the strongest area of rotation is right there. So with that, let's track it off.
Hey, Ron, I think the radar might be skipping again a little bit.
You think so?
Yeah.
Is that on yours or mine? I'm getting a pretty good live view, I do believe.
Then hopefully, it looks like your radar's matching mine right now. I took the Little Rock view, so go ahead.
All right, so here are the communities in the path of this. Lebesque, 152. Then it's going to move into Princedale, 157. Parkin, 203. Coldwater, 208. It will move into Earl right around 212. Into Felco at 217, Crawfordsville 223, and Booker at 227. Now that's the fan track, so this could go anywhere within this, but I tell you what, I'll put another track on here that's a little more specific for the potential rotation itself and draw that to the north and east. So Princedale, you're in this until about 154. Get to your storm shelter right now. You may be right in the path of that circulation. McDonald, 159. Parkin, Arkansas, 204. We'll see it then get into Three Forks at 215. One of the things I want to point out is St. Francis County. You may have heard sirens going off. You've now been removed. That polygon has now been basically remains into Crittenden County, northwestern Crittenden County, but impacting Cross County for the most part. And those are the areas that are under the threat or the greatest threat for tornadic potential. I see you got a couple of skits on there. Any new info coming off that, Eric?
So, Ron, we were talking about this being at about a 4.0, either side of a 4 as far as that BTI number goes. Right now it is at a 4.9 here. So worthwhile to point that out. Wouldn't be surprised if there is some hail that is embedded within this. And the storm top here is about 37,000 feet. So this is certainly an extremely tall storm. Let's dive into this and give you some towns here as far as the street view level goes. Certainly want to dive a little bit closer into this here. So this is looking along State Highway 64 through Cross County. Park in Smithdale, a little bit closer look here. We're looking at Wilson Street, River Street, over towards Sterling Street, State Spur 75. A little bit further to the northeast at County Road 449, State Highway 75 here, Love Place, County Road 449, County Road 425, Watson Road over towards Norvell. And Earl, you still have a couple of moments to sort of get your act together, make sure everybody gets into that safe place, and you want to do so now, as this storm is a tornado-warned storm, and it is headed towards at least your general direction, and you want to treat this as if this is headed towards your specific direction. National Weather Service noting that it has that considerable tag on here, but I believe that's just basically giving us confirmation that it is actually on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is the potential for damage as this moves on through. But look, I want everyone to know, if you are within this polygon for the severe thunderstorm warning, the potential for a tornado is possible there as well. And again, that severe thunderstorm warning, that is going to go, let me get outside that flood warning track, but the severe thunderstorm warning for Craighead, Crittenden, Cross, and Poinsett counties, each and every one of these counties and the community within them need to know that a tornado is possible with little or no notice as this moves on through. I still think straight line wind is really the greater threat with this, outside of Wynne, Arkansas, where we have the visual confirmation, but you can kind of see that well-defined punch. And I think what we're getting is that jet stream coming in out of the north, and those surface and those winds forcing that stronger wind down to the surface as it's coming on through. Something else I note, though, is the amount of circulation that still remains in and around Cross County and near the community of Wynne, Arkansas. Let's take a look once again, because that rotation is still right there along Highway 64. It looks like the threat of the tornado itself has moved north of Wynne, but right now I'm watching this little area right here, and that's really close to the polygon, so it may even be worthy to move that line a little farther north, and they've tightened it more so to just kind of hone in on that area right there. So let's put a track on that, shall we? Let me go ahead, and I'm going to track it from this area right here. Okay, so we're going to come along, and that's where we've got the red and green together, and we'll track it from the leading edge up through that polygon. I'm going to put a wider track on it in just a moment, but these are specific communities that are in the path of this area of circulation right here. So Togo, that's going to move in there about 206. We'll get into Riverfront at about 155, 206 into Togo, and then twist right around 210. Now let's put a wider track on this, because there may be some fluctuation with it as it moves on through. So I tell you what, I'll track it from, and let me take a look once again at the scope. I want to make sure I'm in the right place. Sometimes switching back and forth is a little tough, but we'll track it right there just to the north of Highway 64. Put that XRAD track on there, and we'll go from right here north and east, and I'll just follow right along to the middle of the polygon itself. So McDonald 158, you're in the path of the circulation. 158 into McDonald, 201 Parkin, 206 into Togo. We'll see it move into Earl at 210, Three Forks 213, Grassy Lake Bottom at 216, and Galilee right around 223.
Hey, Ron, you got to
just a
check
little
this
bit.
out here. So
Yeah, let's see it.
The BTI, even though
wow.
the arrow's headed kind of in the wrong direction right now,
Yeah.
but as far as that BTI number we have is an 8.1, and that is a significant number here. Once that number climbs above 7, we do have anticipatory thoughts that there is a tornado on the ground, and really once we get to that 8.1 level, that really kind of gives us confirmation that we do think this is on the ground here, and we did get confirmation that it was on the ground. That is why Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers, when you see him up, that red polygon or that red box has that white outline on it indicating that it is on the ground. So going back to
polygon going north,
correct.
Basically, it was the rotation of the wind skewing that.
Correct.
All right. So as it tapped into that, the general movement of that is to the east-northeast. But that polygon you see going north, it's just kind of getting caught up in that circulation. So that's what that is there. Sorry to interrupt you on that.
No worries. You're good. You're good.
Hey, I want to give a shout to the booth. Malik is our producer in the booth tonight. If you can make a call to the Wynn Sheriff Department, let's find out if there's any confirmation of damage or if they have any reports of anything going on after we have this confirmation of the tornado on the ground. We're going to continue to track it. Eric, what are you looking at now?
So if nothing else, I do want to note, Ron, that Poinsett County has been canceled or they've been dropped from this warning. So there is good news for those of you up in Poinsett County. I'm sure it is loud, and there's a lot of rain falling right now over towards Poinsett County. But the area we're keeping a close eye on right now is just to the east of Wynn and just to the west of Earl. This is looking into northeast Arkansas right now. Notice this area that's in green. That's an indication that the rotation detector is picking up some moderate spin essentially within the sky here. Once these reds start to pop up, that's where we start to see some strong rotation here. So just to the east of Highway 163, we're looking at County Road 432. A little bit further to the east, State Highway 75, County Road 424, State Highway 422. If you're in Coldwater, Colton Crossing, over towards Yarbough Place, Twist, Watson Road, State Highway 42, over towards even Carl West Road and even Poindexter. Get into that safe place right now. There looks to be a tornado that is headed in your direction. You want to put as many walls between yourself and the outside world. Get in that interior portion of your house right now. The whole thing is you want to the more interior that you could put yourself within your house, the more walls that separate you and the outside world. And it gives you that better chance to be able to survive a tornado when it is on the ground here. Bring some pillows with you, bring some blankets with you, bring a sheet over you, a comforter, anything like that. Put a helmet on so this way you can keep yourself safe here. So, Ron, the tornado warned storm right now, it looks like it just continues to have some pretty good circulation or pretty strong circulation embedded within it here. And it moves off to the east-northeast at about 45 miles per hour.
Well, it's been very warm. It's been very humid today. So, and we've seen nothing in the way of storm activity in eastern Arkansas. So this is an untapped environment. There's still a lot of latent heat, and we've still got warm temperatures out there as well, plenty of moisture. All the ingredients are there, and now we're seeing this big line of heavy rain and thunderstorm activity start to make its way toward the Mississippi River. I want to put another track once again on the main line itself because, as I mentioned earlier, I do believe this is going to impact Shelby County, and it is rapidly making its way toward the Mississippi River. So I'll tell you what, let's zoom in quickly. Let me go to this area right here. We'll zoom in. I'm going to pan it over just a little bit and just give me a little more room to not only track but to display the path of the track itself. So I'm going to track that whole line at about 45 to 50 miles per hour, and I'm going to take it all the way down. We'll move it in this direction. Still looks like it's going to clip northwestern Shelby County. So Shelby Forest, Millington, you're still within the path, but more specifically right now, 218, it gets into Turl at 235. Heavy rain at the very least, some strong wind with this on the leading edge. We'll also see it move into Big Lake at 247, Blythehill 307, Mumford 329, Covington 336, and then it moves on into Dyersburg at 353. So we're going to be tracking this well into the early morning hours, and I do believe at some point Memphis and Shelby County will likely go under a severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're in Memphis, be prepared. There could be some very strong winds coming through the Memphis metro, and especially on into Crittenden County, also into Mississippi County, and you're likely feeling that right now in Cross and Poinsett counties, Eastern Cross and Eastern Poinsett counties. But we believe Tornado has moved through the town of Wynne, Arkansas tonight. We are still under a tornado warning for a good portion of Cross County. That's going to remain until 2:15. So Crittenden and Cross Counties, tornado warning until 2:15. If you're in the path of this, I want you to get to your storm shelter, lowest level of your home. Do it right now. Don't watch the television. Turn the volume up and get in your storm shelter if you want to, and then we'll continue to track this and keep you updated verbally as it moves on through. But the most important thing right now is your safety as this line comes in. And it looks like, wow, that is just really continuing to intensify right here, Eric. Let me go ahead and just track.
I think this is kind of evolved just north of 64, though, north of the parking community here.
That's what it looks like, yeah. So Coldwater, 206, Twist, 211, Galilee, and Eric, I'm tracking basically. Feel free to let me know if I'm maybe off by a couple of miles, but that's what I'm looking at right there. So Coldwater 206, and notice it's a narrow track. I'm trying to narrow it down to where that potential circulation will roll on through. Twist 211, Galilee 223, then it's going to move into Tyronza 229, Witten 236, Chelford at about 238. Look, if you know anybody in these communities, call them. Wake them up. I know it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but that came in very handy for a lot of folks in Selmer after being devastated by tornadoes Wednesday night and the early morning hours of Thursday. I know some folks were getting some calls as a result of the coverage we were doing at that time. Just wake them up. Make sure they're in their storm shelter. If you're watching right now, if you are in any of these communities, get to the safest place in your home, your storm shelter, wake your family up, go ahead, get everybody together. And as Eric likes to say, take some pillows and blankets with you, something to just protect your body in the event of any debris that may be flying through the air or damage that your home may sustain as a result. Also, the kids or you have bicycle helmets, put them on. You want to protect your head. Just make sure you are safe, you are shielded, and put as many exterior walls between you and the outside as possible. But right now, confirmation of a tornado on the ground as this was moving on through Wynne, Arkansas,
and Ron,
now making its way towards Coldwater.
So we have a new tornado warning. It's in the same area, but now it includes Crittenden, Cross, Poinsett, and Mississippi counties. So as far as Mississippi County and Poinsett County actually getting included on top of that. So Poinsett County, you had been out of that tornado warning, but now you are included. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the same areas. As we kind of take a wider view, so I'm going to I was going to say I assume that they're tracking this more towards the northeast, but I think it's the whole entire line from north to south here, pretty much from Truman over in Cross County all the way down to the south here, really getting closer to I-40. I-40, this would be over into the northern portion of St. Francis County. I think they're just kind of keeping an eye on this whole entire line right now. But the area we
do have confirmation of damage.
We do
have from the sheriff's department. There are trees, power lines down. And Malik, is that in the town of Wynne or just outside? Okay, so just outside of Wynne, Arkansas, reports from law enforcement that there are trees and power lines down in that area. We'll see if we can get some more info for you. But right now, we've got 2 active tornado warnings. Let me go ahead and put just give folks the info on this second warning that has just popped up. And then, Eric, I'm going to let you go ahead and take a closer look at it to show what is going on with that cells, or with this line, I should say. But right now, we've got 2 active tornado warnings. One, a confirmed tornado warning that moved through Crittenden or Wynne, Arkansas, and Cross County. It remains for Crittenden and Cross until 2:15, but now a new warning just over that as well for Crittenden, Cross, Mississippi, and Poinsett counties. That's going to be in place until 2:45. Now, Eric, I'll throw it back to you for a closer look at what you're seeing there.
Sure. So, Ron, I think you'll agree with this. Just to the northeast of Parkin, it looks like now this has moved to the northeast, or to the east rather, of the St. Francis River. So we're looking over towards Earl, Arkansas right now. State Highway 149, Three Forks, that's an area to keep a close eye on right now. The Clore Cemetery just around around that region, just south of R.W. Dove Field. And if you've ever been over towards the Earl High School, the DG Market that's over there, the Earl Community Center, I do think that you need to get, I know that you need to get into your safe place right now. Put as many walls between yourself and the outside world. Get into your tornado shelter, get into your storm shelter rather right now. But over towards Three Forks, and Ron, this is still looking pretty intense for how long this has kind of been on the ground now, seemingly for as far as this tornado warned storm is concerned. This is moving to the northeast, though. Excuse me.
That's a significant shear marker or shear rate you were looking at there.
Agreed. So
yeah.
when we start seeing these, I'll call them reds, browns that are on your screen here, that's an indication on the upper right-hand side of your screen. You can see the moderate, the strong, and the extreme. There's a lot of green on your screen, but the area we're keeping a close eye on is where this brown or red, whatever color you want to classify that as, that's where there is definitely some strong rotation. And the BTI on this is a 4.9, but I don't think we should necessarily keep too close of an eye on that right now, because I don't see any reason over the past couple of scans, Ron, that this is necessarily decreased in intensity here as it races off to the northeast. It does look like it's trying to move now more towards the north than maybe kind of the northeast flavor. So that's kind of interesting, I think, to note out loud too.
It may actually become a bit more linear as well. And again, it's really looking like it's a bookend vortex right there on that northern side of that bow echo. And look, areas south of that main rotation, Eric, I think they're getting some strong wind. Three Forks, Clore, Earl, Crittenden, Dixie. You could be dealing with straight line damaging winds right now.
So got a report from Chief Meteorologist Ryan Vaughn over at KIT in Jonesboro, Arkansas, noting that along County Road 741 in Wynn that there's damage. And over at the Country Club there's some damage as well. And that traffic on North Kilbow Road has a blocked tree, or that there's a tree down there that's blocking the road right now.
So confirmed damage in the town of Wynn.
Correct.
All right, so here we are 2 years later, and just a couple of days from away from 2 years and about 4
5 days,
from a tornado that moved through there and just
worthwhile to note
wreaked
too,
havoc on
National Weather Service keeping an eye on another area just to the south of Parkin. So I think they're kind of eyeballing 2 specific rotation areas now.
I want to zoom in and just kind of analyze this whole line. Tell you what, let me clear this out of here first, all right? And then let's just zoom into this line. And look, this is the hot zone right now. If you're in Mississippi County, if you're in Crittenden County, I want you to get to a safe place in your home. Just make sure you are somewhere away from exterior walls and windows. You could have at the very least some straight line winds coming through the area, but there's also the possibility of some rotation producing a tornado that could impact you as well. So I do anticipate this severe thunderstorm warning being advanced a bit farther to the east and northeast, but just a first alert to folks from Blytheville, really all the way down into southern Crittenden County. I want you to know that the possibility for some strong winds is coming into play. But what I want to do right now is just zoom in on this line itself and see if we can take a closer look at anything that may be more distinctive in the form of rotation. And let's throw the scope on here and see what we can come up with. Let me see here. There's one area I see right now. That's right there. There's a little rotation there. Then it looks like we've got this bowing segment. In other words, that's that little portion of the storm. The winds are kind of exceeding or getting out ahead of the main line itself. I'm going to pan down just a little bit, see if I see anything around Forest City. That looks more like straight line wind in that area there, but there was another little area that I was watching right here in Poinsett County. I'm going to zoom in a little tighter on that and see if I can find something that may be distinctive of. It looks like there's a little rotation right there. Yeah, let's take a look, and I'll tell you what, let me switch over to the velocity right here and see if we see a little. There is something, and it's just outside. Not sure what happened there. Can we go back to my first alert Doppler radar, guys, on max 1? Can we go back to max 1? What happened there? Oh, there we go. For some reason, Eric, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Go for it. Let's go, Ron.
For some reason, my computer reset itself.
So now we have a shear marker that's popping up just to the north of Coldwater right now. Worthwhile to note, got a report from the National Weather Service saying that there's damage now reported by a ham operator, radio operator in Wynn as well as Fitzgerald Crossing. And now there's a new tornado warning that is in place for Crittenden, Poinsett, and Mississippi counties. We are keeping a close eye on that right now. If we turn around and see what we have going on for that specific warning, wow, now we have those 3 warnings that are around here for portions of, yet again, Crittenden as well as Poinsett, Cross, and Mississippi counties. So this is definitely a whole entire line that we're keeping an extremely close eye on right now. As noted, we have what is known as a shear marker that's popping up here to the northeast of Wynn near Coldwater. So that's a potentially dangerous situation here right along the St. Francis River. So the area that we're keeping the closest eye on right now is just north of Earl, Arkansas. If you know anybody that's over towards Three Forks, the Lunsford Farm, further to the north here, over towards the Black Oak Baptist Church, Mid-South Clean Machine, those general areas, you need to get in that safe place right now over towards Poindexter and further up the road on Highway 149 as we get a little bit closer to Mark Tree, Arkansas. So that is an area we really got to keep a very close eye on right now as this storm and the cluster of showers and storms is racing up to the northeast here at about 45 miles per hour. So Ron, as far as these storms go, they certainly do seem to be packing quite a punch here, and we have had that confirmed tornado on the ground.
All right, so look, meteorologist Patrick Ellis just got back into the building. He and I were having a brief conversation. Patrick, I think you're going to jump into the first alert storm tracker right now. He's going to try to move in that direction, Eric, toward Wynn, Arkansas.
Be safe, buddy.
We've had confirmation of damage in that area. He's going to approach. He's a trained meteorologist. He has worked through any kind of weather you can imagine. Spent years down in Mississippi with severe weather there, hurricanes on the East Coast. So he's pretty confident that he can get there safely, possibly down I-40, and then come up behind this and see if he can bring us some images and bring some reports to us. So Patrick, be careful as you head out there. I do want to remind you, though, we still have a tornado watch in effect for Cross, Poinsett, Mississippi County, Lauderdale, and Dyer County. That's going to remain until 4 a.m. But more specifically right now, we got a pretty significant bow echo that is bearing down on eastern Arkansas, about to make its way to the Mississippi River. We have had reports of damage in that area. This storm is showing no signs of weakening at any time. Looking at about 333 strikes of lightning on that. So the lightning count down just a little bit, but at the same time, 2 active tornado warnings also at this time. Let me clear that off, give you the information. We've got this tornado warning right now. This is for Crittenden, Mississippi, and Poinsett counties. That goes until 3 a.m. There's another tornado warning that is just to the south of that, and that warning is for Crittenden, Cross, Poinsett, and Mississippi County. That is going to go until 2:45 a.m. So we have right now 2 active tornado warnings, but I think they may be overlapping for the same area of rotation. And I tell you what, let me take this off and let's see if we can take a closer look. And we do, we have overlapping tornado warnings right now. So I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit tighter. Let's see, this is now crossed into Crittenden County. When you're in the clear, you're getting heavy rain right now, but the tornado threat is over for you. That has now moved on east, and I think I can safely say the tornado threat is just about to exit northeastern Cross County. That area right there is still showing some signs of rotation.
Pretty much.
I think that other warning right there north, is that north of Earl? Are you seeing that?
I agree with you with north of Earl, but it's right.
You've got a skid on it.
That intersection is pretty much right where Cross, Crittenden, and Poinsett counties all meet.
So we've got 2 distinct areas of rotation.
I'd agree with that, yeah. Without a doubt.
What's that skid by Earl say?
So that one, let's see, what do we have here? This is registering as a 5.3 right now. And actually, we just got a new one in. This is a 5.2 right now. And I actually agree with the general projection of this as well. It looks like it is headed towards the general Turl direction here. I'm not necessarily crazy about the times that are on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen. I don't think that this is necessarily moving at that given rate here, but let's track this out.
What was that rate? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, no worries, you're good. So this looks like these are moving to the northeast at about 55 miles per hour. So these are moving pretty quickly here as far as a forward speed associated with them. If we extend this on out here, we're looking at Earl essentially now. Turl at 231, Gilmore 232, Tyron's at 233, Joyner 243, Lepanto, your time is 243, where you could be seeing a tornado-warned storm head into your vicinity, and over towards Dyes at 244. So a few communities here, 555 and I-55. That is an area that could be getting hit by a potential tornado right now over the next about 15 or so minutes. If you are into Shelby County, do want to do a little bit of a reset right now, you don't have any sort of issues. Let me rephrase that. If you're in Memphis right now, you don't have any sort of issues as far as any sort of tornado warned activity is concerned. If you're in northern Mississippi, you're doing A-OK with this right now as well. And really, if you're south of I-40, this is not an issue whatsoever. Within western Tennessee, the area to keep an eye on as far as the counties go are into Lauderdale as well as Dyer County and even far western Tipton County. I can't 100% say that you're in the clear right now. If you're in Mississippi County, you might be having those sirens going off right now, and you might be saying we're not even getting any rain. Well, folks, down to your southwest, that's where we are keeping an eye on a tornado warned storm as of this time. And notice here, well, let's see, do we have the tag popping up anymore? Ron, on your system over there, do you have the white outline still popping up with the red outline here indicating that it's confirmed from the ground?
No, I do not.
Copy.
But we did get confirmation of damage in Fairfield Crossing, as well as Fitzgerald Crossing, excuse me, as well as Wynne, Arkansas. And Eric, we were right on top of that as moving on through and suspected that we had a tornado on the ground then. We got the visual confirmation from it, and now, or the confirmation, I should say, I'm not sure if it was visual or a result of damage, and law enforcement reporting that, but they did tell us there is damage. Law enforcement in Wynne has told us there are power lines and poles and trees down in Wynne. We've also got confirmation from a fellow meteorologist, Ryan Vaughn, and a gray media meteorologist up there at Jonesboro, who tells us there's been damage to the country club there. We are seeing very distinct rotation, but I really think now the main threat with this is going to be the potential for damaging straight line wind as it moves on through. And really, I'm more concerned about that threat for the straight line wind for larger swaths of real estate as compared to the tornado warning itself. Although we are still seeing some pretty distinct signatures, especially in this area right here, Mississippi.
We got to keep an eye near Turl.
That's moving on through. What was that?
I think we got to keep an eye near Turl right now.
Yeah, we do. Are you zoomed in on that?
Yeah, I'm zoomed in.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Sure.
Let's see what you got.
Sure. So, Ron, the area that's kind of catching my eye right now, I want you to see how there's a bright green spot right here. That is an area, and especially too how this has this little bit of an inflow notch. That's where we got to keep a really close eye on right now.
What were the streets over there? Can you give us that real quick?
Sure. Let's dive into it. So we have State Highway 42, County Road 26, over towards Macedonia Road, Eureka Street, Stacy Road, Gilmore Road East, Gilmore as a whole, Stacy as a whole, Baker Road, a little further to the north, the Poinsett County Line Road, right along US 61, pretty close to where US 61 and I-55 start to jut a little bit to the west. That is an area you want to keep a close eye on. Menachia Road and over into, well, really St. Thomas, Frenchman's Bayou. This whole entire area, northeastern Crittenden County and southern portions of Mississippi County, this is an area you want to keep an extremely close eye on right now. And Ron, just that area in green right there that's really bright and kind of distinguishably bright just to the north of Booker. Got to keep a close eye on that too.
Yeah, there's a little vortex that's popped up right there on the leading edge, and that's somewhat typical when you get a very strong wind like that. As a matter of fact, we got a report from the Delta Regional Airport of a 65 mile an hour or 63 mile an hour wind gust there. And look, that will take down some trees in a quick second. So right now, we are with you because of 2 active tornado warnings that we have for eastern Arkansas. And now do I see 3 overlapping?
So National Weather Service, they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning here, and actually includes Shelby County, as you see that pop up.
And we expected that to be, let me clear that out. All right, so Shelby County, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning. There will be damaging wind, potentially damaging wind. Let me just put a track on it real quick, and then we're going to go through the times on this that are expected to move into Shelby County. So Turl 228, strong wind coming your way, could be possibly 60 to 65 miles per hour. Then into Clarkdale, should move in at about 231. Marion 240. Then we'll see that move into Shelby Forest at 248. That was the one we were looking for. 248 Shelby Forest. There's your first alert. Drummond's 259. Millington 304. Atoka 312. And then Covington 322. Right now it looks like the strongest wind will stay along and north of I-40, but the potential for some damaging wind coming into Shelby and Crittenden counties is very distinct right now. So clearing this out, let's give you an idea of the tornado warnings we've got in effect. We've got one right now that's in place. This is for Mississippi County along and west of Interstate 55. That is going to be for Crittenden, Mississippi, Poinsett counties. That's going to be in place until 3 a.m. There is one just to the west of it. So it's two active warnings, Crittenden, Cross, Mississippi, and Poinsett counties. Threw me off a little bit there as we were looking at those overlapping polygons. But here's what we're looking at right now. So we've got two tornado-warned storms. One, and I think they were picking up on this rotation that's right here on the back side of this. That's an interesting location. But Eric, you've even got a shear marker back there too. So I'm looking at this area here. What are you seeing?
I think that's an old shear marker. I don't think it's kind of recycled itself out quite yet.
And because that's really not in the place that we would see something like that. But I would be willing to bet there is maybe some upper level rotations within that, but really the main area of concern is going to be on this leading edge. Let me zoom in just a little tighter here. I want to take a closer look at what's going on with this tornado warning. And this area right here, wow, we've got a well-defined swirl in here. So here's what we've got going on. This whole thing is moving off to the east, all right? There's a strong south wind in advance of it. And then as this is moving east, some of that wind is getting wrapped back around within this. And I think that's why we're seeing some circulation here. We're still seeing a little bit back here. It is just a mess of wind that's moving on through southeastern Poinsett County, northeastern Cross County, and really impacting a good portion of western northern Crittenden County as that comes on through. Let me clear that off. I've got a lot on there. I'm going to use the scope here and let's see, because I'm seeing a pretty little distinct area. I was looking at that area right there. Turns out it's more right here. So let me draw that out. Let's throw that on right there. I'm going to move the scope off of here and I'm going to track. Let me move that out. And then I'm going to track from this area right here. So Eric, let me know if you think I'm off a little bit.
No, I think you're good, man.
Okay, and we're gonna go, and wow, it's just kind of moving, wants to go to the north, but even though this whole thing is going off to the east, I think my track may be a little better served going a little farther to the east, but I still want to give a first alert to Galilee 224. It's possible this rotation moves into your direction. Tyronza 229, Beasley 231, Friars Mill 236, Alto 238, Dias at 245, Bondsville at 248. If you are in any of these communities, I want you in your storm shelter right now. Now I'm going to put another track on this. I'm going to go in a different direction and I'll explain, because I think the whole cell itself is kind of moving in this direction, even though, well, here, we can find out right here by putting a loop on it. It's moving, that's moving east. All right, it is moving east, northeast.
It is interesting, just below and to the left where it says 555. Yeah, right where you're pointing at, there's definitely something there.
Yeah, I think this whole thing, I just think we have a huge high precipitation supercell that may be rotating there with that leading edge kind of embedded within this line. And look, it is a big line, folks, all right? So we're looking at a massive line. And really, we thought we were going to deal with just flooding through the overnight hours as a result of this, but we're starting to see some activity, and I think mainly because we've seen no activity in northeast Arkansas from Mississippi County through Poinsett and Cross County, so some of that latent heat from the day still in place there, but that also could mean some big problems for folks here in West Tennessee north of 40, so Shelby, Tipton, Lauderdale, DeSoto County. I want you to be ready to get to your storm shelter quickly, or just be in the safest place of your home. Maybe a good time to wake everybody up and say, hey, let's get up, let's watch these storms, track them, and once they get close, make sure everybody is together and in the safest place in your home or together in your storm shelter. Many of these counties have storm shelters, community storm shelters. Maybe a good idea to start heading there right now as that gets ready to move through, and especially more primarily for Lauderdale, Tipton, and northern Shelby counties. So I want you guys to stay very aware as this continues to move through, but I do think we've just got a huge area of broad scale rotation with some other little spin ups that are just kind of occurring right in and around this area. So that is something else, very unique and distinctive view there. We've seen a lot of very interesting radar signatures over the last couple of days as a result of storms moving through the area. But just to give you an idea, once again, let me clear this off. The area of concern right now along and west of the Mississippi River, Memphis and Shelby County included in this. We are under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. I can't rule out the potential for a tornado warning being issued for Shelby County. We are down now to 1 tornado warning, and that is going to remain, I do believe, until 3 o'clock. So tornado or 2:45. So Crittenden, Cross, Mississippi, and Poinsett till 2:45 for the tornado warning, but the severe thunderstorm warning encompassing quite a few communities and counties, Lauderdale, Mississippi, Poinsett, and Tipton County, as well as Shelby County. That's going to go until 3 a.m. right now, and it is all due to this line of storms that's just really starting to make its way in. It is beginning to look a little messier and a bit more broad scale in rotation, Eric, as I'm checking that out, but there are still some pockets, and I can understand the justification for the tornado warning right
no
here.
doubt.
But I'm really more concerned about the threat for the straight line wind that's really right along the leading edge of this, and from right here just along and west of 555 to the east or to the west of 55. That's just now crossing in northern Crittenden County. So some very strong, potentially damaging winds from Turl through Clarkdale down to Marion, and even a little farther west back into just to the west of Joyner. That's moving in your direction right now as well. I'm going to put the big view back on here. Eric, any distinctions that are catching your eye at this time? We've got about another 15 minutes left on that tornado warning.
So give me 1 sec, Ron. I just popped up an Arkansas Department of Transportation camera, and I'm going to pop it up here behind me momentarily.
Hey, Malik, I want you guys to also pop up Patrick's shot once he gets on the road and gets going too.
Patrick's on the road, so I have him up in this monitor that you can't see right over my shoulder here.
Okay,
he's on I-55. He's just near the 55-40 split right now. But the thing I want to pop up here, Ron, and I want you to take a peek at this as well. This is what it's looking like right now along I-55. I believe it was milepost 17 or 19. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can certainly see quite a bit of rain. Looks like a lot of people are taking it slow out there, and the winds, from what I can see, they've been moving around pretty good. A whole heck of a lot of lightning that is around right now too. The other thing I want to pop behind me right now, and this should be meteorologist Patrick Ellis in the First Alert the Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker here. He is right now, I believe, on I-55, just north of the 55-40 split. You can see him on the right side of the road right here, moving up to the north right now. And I wouldn't be surprised, Ron, he's going to be pretty much embracing this rain and the strong winds here in the matter of just a few miles, because if he just got past that split, let's just say he's going 60 miles per hour. Right now, he's about 6.5 or so miles away from where that thunder and light or where the actual storm is. And notice, too, that lightning that's out in the distance. There's a lot of it.
And I want to point something out here. I'm going to zoom out and take a look at the big picture because I know what we're looking at now, all right? We have a meso-low. It's basically a low pressure system and that is just riding along a boundary that's draped just to our west. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so we take a look at the big picture. We're going to lose some radar data, okay? But today we have had basically and I want to draw here, all right? So there's been a boundary that's just been right here throughout much of the day today. That boundary, the northern portion of it still remains there, but the western portion of it getting a little closer to the Mississippi River, and we've seen these little low pressures that have been developing along it, and right now, that's what we're seeing here, and low pressure, the air around a low pressure system, I've got too much on the screen, but the air around a low pressure system travels in a counterclockwise fashion. So that's why we're seeing that broad scale rotation. And then we get these little vortices that develop within that low pressure, that meso-low, as it tightens up a little bit, a little closer to the surface. That's what we're seeing come through. But we've already had confirmation of damage as it came through Cross County in wind, damage to the community center there, and we've had some reports of trees, power lines, and poles down. That comes to us from law enforcement and from meteorologists that are within the area right now. But that's a big scale of the picture. But look, there's still a lot of rain that's going to come in here, and it's all going to eventually move off to the east. This is our final push of storms. This is going to go well into the day on Saturday, so it's going to be another long and stormy day, but this is the final round for us as we get this entire system finally out of here. It has been relentless and just plaguing the Mid-South throughout. But right now, we have one active tornado warning. That's going to remain until 2:45. But we also have the severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to go until 3 a.m. And that is for Crittenden, Mississippi, Shelby, and Tipton counties. So until 3 a.m., damaging straight line wind along the leading edge of this as it moves on through. So that's what I want you to remain weather aware and just ride this out. It looks like, I think the low pressure center itself, I didn't want to go that way. Let me go this way. Because if you'll watch, and it's almost well defined. You can really, that's what we were seeing, Eric. That's the center of that low.
Hey, Ron, if we could.
There is a low pressure center right there. It's ejecting north and east. And that's what we're seeing right now.
Hey, Ron, if we could, I don't think it's a bad idea to take. We're not talking to him, but just as far as taking the Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker, as far as the full shot here, because I've been keeping an eye on as far as the actual camera that is within there, and seeing that he's going up I-55, and I think he'll be hitting the rain here rather shortly. And you can see it's starting to pop up here on the windshield itself. I'd imagine the wind's also got to be cooking there pretty good as far as the velocity of it. And I know Patrick. I've been in a car with him before. He's a great driver. It looks like he's fighting that steering wheel a little bit too, so I wouldn't be surprised if the winds are strong.
And that's what we were talking about. Patrick comes in and he wants to jump in the storm tracker, and I have to worry about his safety. So we had a long discussion about that. He is confident that he can approach that safely and come up possibly from the south of it. And then where is he? Is he on 64 or 40?
So right now he is on 55.
He's on
I believe
55.
He's between Marion and Jericho. I think he's closer to Jericho than he is to Marion right now.
All right. So he knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for a long time. He was jumping in cars and chasing storms when he was in college at Mississippi State. So he has more than 10 years of experience doing this. But it does get a little nerve-wracking watching Patrick Ellis drive in the First Alert Storm Tracker heading right into a storm and a potential straight line wind that awaits him just to his west. So we're going to watch closely. We'll keep up with him. In the meantime, Eric Brill and I tracking storms. Here we are right now. We are at 2:35. We still have an active severe thunderstorm warning. I see they've let the tornado warning go, but we can't let our guard down simply because there is still the potential for some redevelopment along that leading edge. But I am a little more confident in what I'm seeing. I tell you what, I'm going to go a little to the west here and see if I can pick up on the Little Rock radar from this. It should Well, it's not going to let me do that.
Hey, Ron, one thing to note.
You got a better view on this?
I don't have a better view on it, but I do want to note that Tipton, Haywood, and Crockett counties and as well as Gibson County have been placed under that tornado watch now until 4 a.m.
Okay. All right. Good news. Good news. So
no, they've been added.
They've been added to
Correct.
it. Okay. So here it is right now. We still have Cross, Poinsett, Mississippi counties, Craighead. You've got Clay and Greene counties, Missouri Boot Heel, Dunklin, and Pemiscot counties included in this. Then Tipton, Lauderdale, Dyer, Crockett, and Haywood counties in the Action News 5 coverage area. Gibson County, you're also included in this.
Hey, Ron,
So
hate to jump all over you,
for
but let's go back. We got to go back to Patrick and the storm tracker here. So I'm just watching him driving along here, and you can see the actual velocity, the wind on the road here, just blowing it from west to east here as he's moving along in the Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to put, can we do it? We've got a double box going here. I tell you what, let me zoom in just a little tighter right here. We'll be able to see what he is driving into right now. He's on 55. Man, there's a lot of lightning that is right there just to the north of
So he's on
well.
55, just north of Jericho, south of Turl.
Okay, so he's in this area right here. Let me zoom in just a little tighter. Man, he went through a lot of lightning just a minute ago too. And now I don't see any lightning there, so that's why I think he's maybe up possibly north of it. I don't know, but there's some very heavy rain coming down right now. We're not letting him talk. His focus is on driving, both hands on the wheel, but at the same time still able to give us a bird's eye view of what is happening on the ground. It's one thing to have the radar view and we're getting returns at about 1,500 feet, but to have ground confirmation is very important. Now it's dark out there, but he is on major thoroughfares and sticking to that and on his way into the area where the stronger storms are coming through right now. So that's a look from our Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker at 2:37 on a very early Saturday morning and a very long Saturday to get through as more strong to severe storms coming into play. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning. That remains in place again. No active tornado warnings. Good news there, but Memphis and Shelby County still under a severe thunderstorm warning. And I want to put another track on this wind. So Crittenden, Mississippi, Shelby, Tipton County under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3 a.m. I'm going to move this off to my left just a little bit in this direction. I'm going to throw the velocity. This is wind data, okay? So here's what we're looking at. I'm going to put this on here and then we're going to track it. Look, you don't need to be a meteorologist to see that there is strong wind in this area right here. So I tell you what, let's just put a track on this area as it moves on through and to the north and northeast. Shelby Forest, that gets in there at 249. Joyner, 239. So he is very close. Patrick's very close to that stronger wind. And it's going to move into Marie right around 252. Drummond's 257. 308 into Millington. Then we'll see it get into Atoka at 311. Covington, 321. Barrettville at 324. We are tracking just wind, all right? So that is the main area of wind. I'll throw the NEXRAD data on here. That's going to be accompanied, and really that wind right there along that band of the heavier precipitation. So as we put this into motion for you, you can see that is rapidly traveling off to the east. Osceola, you're getting some light rain right now, but heavier precipitation is about to come into you along with the potential for some gusting wind. Let's give you your first alert on that. Should get into Osceola at 254. So, and I think I'm tracking this at about 45 miles per hour. So, Eric, is this moving at 50 or 60? What are we getting on forward progression of this?
So the last update that we have from the National Weather Service, they say it is moving to the northeast at 50.
Okay, so I'm a few minutes off on here, okay? So because this is moving at about 5 miles per hour faster than I'm tracking. So Kaiser, I've got 242. Let's say 235, 240 at the very latest. Golden Lake, we'll say it's going to come into you at about 240. We'll knock about 5 minutes off of all these. Driver at about 243. Should get into Osceola at about 249. Then we're going to see it move into Butler at 250. And right around 255 into Luxora. Should get into Gold Dust at about 3 o'clock. And right around 3 as well for Limsford. And again, I'm tracking it at 45 miles per hour. I need to go make a quick adjustment on my track. But in the meantime, this gives you a general idea of when the strongest wind, the heaviest rain will be moving into these communities in Mississippi County. But that whole line now also poised to make a move into Shelby County, impacting Millington. Sunset will knock about 5 minutes off of that, and we'll say that's going to move in at about 240. 247, then it's going to move into Marion right around 242. Drummond's right around 258, or excuse me, 248, 255 into Gilt Edge. I'm trying to do some quick math here, and it's been a long day already, and we're coming up on 3. 3 o'clock should get into Millington. Brighton right around 309, then Covington at about 311, should get into Tabernacle about 320. And again, I'm taking about 5 minutes off of each one because I'm tracking this at 45 miles per hour, but it's actually moving at 50. I'm going to go make a quick
change
to my track. Eric, you're on it.
So, Ron, I've been keeping an eye on just all the broad rotation that we have around right now, as well as meteorologist Patrick Ellis in the Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker. I'm meteorologist Derek Brill. You've heard Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers here over the past few minutes talking about the severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for portions of the Mid-South, including Shelby County. This also does include Tipton, as well as Lauderdale, Mississippi, over into Poinsett, as well as Crittenden counties. You can see this area that's outlined in the gold or yellow coloring right now that is oscillating. It is blinking back and forth, and that's where that warning is right now. The area I'm keeping a close eye on is just near where Crittenden, Mississippi, as well as Shelby and Tipton counties all intersect each other here. And notice that red line that is on your screen here. That is what is known as a skit marker, and that usually gives us an indication how strong that this storm could potentially be. Notice the BTI number on this. This is a 6.5 right now, and that's on a scale of 1 to 10. Once that number starts to climb above 5, it really starts to draw our attention. And once that number climbs above a 7, that's usually when there is a tornado that is on the ground here. So while this isn't a tornado-warned storm, we want to treat it as if it is one right now. If you're over towards Munford, this is into Tipton County. Your first alert here, even if you don't see a tornado, you're about to see some very heavy rain, some strong winds, and that's going to be the case for Covington. Over into Butler, Wilson. This is now looking into Mississippi County, Howard's Landing, Black Cat, Golden Lake, Wilson, and off to the northeast here, now back into Lauderdale County, Oak Grove, Cherry, Fulton, all these areas. If I've called you out here, you're about to see some very strong winds that will be embedded. New skit number, excuse me, popping up here, indicating a 4.7. So that's fortunately been able to drop down ever so slightly. If you're into Shelby County, I'll tell you what, there's been a whole heck of a lot of lightning around right now that we've been keeping an eye on here on our cameras at Action News 5. If you're in Shelby County, for the most part, you're dry, but into the far northwestern corner, that's where there is some heavy rain right now, and that is going to continue to march itself off to the east. These have been forward progressing here or advancing to the east and northeast here extremely quickly. I do think we're going to see at least the potential for some wind damage to come out of this, Ron, and in some cases we have seen potentially some tornado damage that did occur here over into wind. I wouldn't be surprised if meteorologist Patrick Ellis, if he does start making his way over towards the wind area, as maybe the severe thunderstorm threat or the tornado threat starting to diminish ever so slightly. But it looks like we had some pretty strong winds over into Mark Tree as well, and that's moving into Mississippi County too.
So ham radio operators reporting damage to a country club in Wynn. I said a community center earlier. My apologies for that. It was a country club in Wynn. And JB Steakhouse on 64 and right there in the 64B area. So damage confirmed in Wynn, Arkansas. Law enforcement now on their way to check out the potential for damage that may have been in and around parts of Tyronza. So we'll wait and see if we hear anything from them. And right now, tornado watch, it's been extended into West Tennessee now. An interesting day today because we had a tornado watch for a large portion of the coverage area went into effect around 1 o'clock this afternoon, 1, 2 o'clock for the entire Mid-South. And then northern Mississippi was removed from it. And then much of West Tennessee removed from it with the exception of Lauderdale and Dyer County, but the timing of it was extended to 4 a.m. The original watch going until 10, but now here we are coming up at 2:45, and we now have a tornado watch that remains for Cross, Poinsett, Mississippi counties, but it's been extended farther east into West Tennessee. The reason being because all of this activity is making a move to the east, but more specifically to the northeast. So that's going to take all of this right along and north of the 40 corridor. So Tipton, Lauderdale, Dyer County, here's your first alert to some very heavy rain and the potential to some straight line wind and possibly isolated tornadoes moving into your area within the next few minutes. So that's the overall look of it. Let me clear this out of here. Let's go back to our next rad radar and let me put a track on what we are seeing, and let's see if we can give some communities their first alert as to when this may get there. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit tighter, so bear with me for just 1 second. I'm going to come into this area right here, and we're going to track more specifically the storm or this leading edge right here within this severe thunderstorm warned polygon. So I'm going to extend it just beyond Dyer County. So Osceola 248, heavy rain and wind. It is almost on you right now. You're already getting some light rain out of it. 257 into Blytheville. Then we're looking at Covington at 315. Should move into Ripley. That's Lauderdale County, Ripley and Lauderdale County in Tennessee. 322. Dyersburg 334, Maury City 347, and then 359 it's going to move into Brownsville. We'll see it move into Martin at 416. So these are some of the communities, but it is also going to impact Shelby County, and more specifically northern Shelby County, right there along and north of the 40 corridor. And I'll go ahead and put a track on this as well, because folks in Shelby County, you're going to be waking up soon, possibly to some loud rumbles of thunder and some lightning, but the potential for some damaging wind. Shelby Forest 251, then into West Memphis 256, 305 into Millington. We see it move into Covington at about 313, 321 into Tabernacle. Should get into Brunswick right around 327, 335 in Arlington at 343 into Stanton. I'm tracking this to the east northeast at 50 miles per hour. The main concern with this right now, again, the potential for damaging straight line wind with this as it pushes on through. Let's take a look at the spectrum width, which gives us an idea of turbulence. I see a little bit right there, and right there west of 55, you can see some areas that are dealing with it. This area right here along that leading edge of that main meso low that's tracking through the area right now. We take it back to the home view, show you what we're looking at there. All the activity west of the Mississippi River, but it is starting to make its way across. And did you see that, Eric, just
Flash
moments
flood
ago?
warning.
Flash flood warning, and that's going to be a big issue as we get into the later afternoon and evening and overnight hours tonight. There is the potential for widespread flooding all across the Action News 5 coverage area. The ground is saturated, and we could see an additional 3 to possibly as much as 8 inches of rain for the Mid-South. Memphis on track to pick up an additional 4 to 5 inches of rain before the day is over and we get these storms out of here. But yes, indeed, a stormy morning right now, but the greater area of concern is along and north of the 40 corridor. And if you watch this activity right now, it is kind of moving off to the north and northeast. Let me zoom out just a little bit and show you that it may be a bit more tranquil for the very early morning hours for areas along and south of 40, northern Mississippi, good part of West Tennessee as a matter of fact, with the focus likely being greater in this area right here for the potential for stronger storms this morning, and also the possibility of some flooding, especially around Dyer, Lauderdale, Mississippi County, up in the Boot Heel in Pemiscot and Dunklin County. So flooding has been a big issue. I see this purple polygon up here that is just to the north. This is in southeastern Missouri. That is a flash flood warning there. We have seen multiple warnings throughout the overnight hours across the area, and all of these areas in green right now, these polygons in green, flash flood warnings. But look back to the west. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect right now for western Arkansas. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit there because, look, this whole line, it's going to get its act together as the morning progresses, and we're going to see this then make a strong push to the east, and that should make its way to the Mississippi River right around midday today. So a lot going on, but this is the final push of what has been a very stormy 3-day period for the Mid-South, now headed into the fourth and final day. It is a first alert weather day once again for the entire Action News 5 coverage area, but it is getting off to another very early morning start, or for many, a late Friday night start. But it is busy and active nonetheless. So here we are at 2:50 right now. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that remains for Crittenden, Mississippi, Shelby, and Tipton counties. That is going to go until 3 a.m., another 9 minutes on that. Eric, any indication that they may extend that warning, or any thoughts on additional tornado warnings?
They haven't noted anything either way, whether this be extended or any sort of tornado warnings. But, Ron, when you get to situations like this is where things could really sort of spin up here rather quickly. And I wouldn't mind going back to meteorologist Patrick Ellis in the Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker, especially since I just saw some lightning here over my shoulder. As the rain, it's still coming down pretty good. Doesn't look like the wind is quite as strong as what we were seeing here just a few moments ago. I believe right now, because I've been keeping an eye over my shoulder here, where he's headed towards and whatnot. I believe he is north of 55 and 555 right now. He's technically on 555, headed towards the southern portion of Poinsett County right now. So that's the general area where he is. Looks quite a bit tamer than what we were seeing here just a couple of moments ago. But still, I think the winds are still whipping there pretty good, and the rain certainly is coming down there pretty hard. And like I said earlier, I think he'll eventually be headed towards Wynne, Arkansas here, but just kind of wanted to drive through that whole entire line here to see kind of what the aftermath was of it there, especially a little bit closer to Mark Tree. I know that was another area that got hit pretty hard here going back just a couple of days ago. We still do have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in place here around the Mid-South, and it does include portions of Shelby as well as Tipton, Lauderdale, and Mississippi counties, and over towards northern Crittenden County. If you're specifically in the Memphis metro right now, you aren't seeing any rain per se, but there has been a lot of lightning out in the distance here if you look to the west and to the north for that matter. As far as any potential numbers here that kind of catch my eye as with these skit numbers or these skit values, it doesn't seem like we have anything too crazy going on right now. Do have a BTI or Barron Tornado Index number that's at a 4.7, so that is one that we will be keeping a close eye on. And Ron, this is kind of the general. Let me think about this. This is actually the general cluster of where we have the skit popping up right now, where we could be seeing, where we have seen, I think, really that tornadic activity going all the way back to Wynne, as this does continue to march to the northeast here. It's not tornado warned, but it still is it still possesses a pretty high skit value.
Can I draw something on
Absolutely.
here? Because I think I know what we're looking at right now. That is the center of the low pressure center. Look. We've got moisture wrapping around because the air wraps around in a counterclockwise move. So where we're seeing a little lighter activity right there, but the stronger radar returns coming in on the back side of that, I think that low ejecting off to the north and east, and I can't draw a proper L on here because I'm using just a curved line tool on this, but at the same time, there is a pretty distinct low pressure center on here. And again, heavy rain on the outside, heavy rain coming in on the backside, but this whole thing ejecting north and east. So I think what we may see over the next coming hours, Eric, is possibly a little bit of a lull. As a matter of fact, forecast models where, I'm trying to get back to the home view on my camera and I'm on yours, so, or my computer, but I'm on yours. But I think we may see a little bit of a lull in the severe activity. I think the flooding threat is really going to start to increase in northeast Arkansas, the Boot Heel, and West Tennessee over the next few hours. But there's going to likely lift to the north as that pushes on through, and then we're going to see this whole line come into play late morning to the middle of the day and make the push in through the rest of the coverage area, and that's where we really have to keep our guard up. It is quite possible right around midday Saturday, or what, just another 9 hours away here, we could be dealing with more severe storms, possibly tornadoes along the Mississippi River and to the west or east into West Tennessee. So it's very possible that that comes into play there. And did you see those? You were looking at your shear markers there, or your skits.
So
you see how they were crossing?
Hey Ron,
that's that low.
Put it back on you as far as the weather graphics go. So something that's interesting here. You can almost really see the rotation occurring right where that shear marker is, lifting up to the northeast here and approaching pretty much Mark Tree and Taranza right now. Or
Give
right
that a little tilt, Eric, and it should be a elongated shear marker.
Sure.
That's going to show us that it's in the, oh, wow, it's compact.
That's shorter than I would have thought.
It's a little compact. I would have thought it was going to be a longer shear marker. The more compact it is, that means that circulation is closer to the surface. So we may have a surface low moving through tonight, but I think overall it is just a meso low that's just making its way through the area right now and wreaking the havoc on the community.
And keep in mind, too, this is looking back at 2:18, so the matter of about 40 minutes ago. So we don't have this, we're not worried necessarily about tornadic activity right now, but we certainly have seen some strong winds.
Yeah, straight line wind is, I think we've transitioned from a tornadic situation to a straight line wind situation. And look, that little area right there. So we've got this, the flow coming up from the south, southwest, and then we've got some more showers or heavier rain filtering in behind that. And there's that center of circulation, likely right there along 55, just to the south of Blytheville and in close proximity to Osceola right now. And that's what's lifting on through the area. So that's what we're looking at. I want to give you a look at the lightning counter here. We have a tremendous amount of lightning that's still in the area. And just on that view right there, I say a tremendous amount, 244 strikes. It was up to about 650 strikes earlier, but look, that's still packing a punch. And in Mississippi County right now, it's loud as that's moving on through, and it's also very heavy rain that's coming down. Let me check some of the rainfall rates on this, more specifically from northern Shelby County up to right around northern Mississippi County. So let's take a look at the rainfall rates coming into Shelby Forest right now. Just beginning to cross the river in northwestern Shelby County, about 1.25 inches per hour. But look at these rainfall rates back here to the south and west of Blytheville. Close to 2 inches per hour. And I bet if I looked a little closer, I'll find it, just over 2.25 inches per hour. So there is a lot of rain, anywhere from around 1 inch to possibly as much as 2.5 inches per hour coming through right now. And that precipitation ejecting to the north and northeast, but a lot of that in the stronger winds on the leading edge, the front side of that low pressure center, and that's beginning to spread out a little bit. That's going to bring a little rain, I think, possibly inside the 240 loop and spread across into more of northern Shelby County. So Fraser already getting some rain right now. That is about to move, or it should be rather light. It's right along 51, but you're likely going to see some pretty heavy rain around Rosemark on into Bartlett. And our northern communities, Lakeland, Arlington, you're going to be in for some heavy rain in the early morning hours. But this whole system, again, still churning, drawing moisture right into the Mid-South, flooding, a big issue tonight. Eric, what are you looking at on the First Alert Doppler radar?
So still continuing to keep an eye. Still keeping an eye on meteorologist Patrick Vaughn as he's advancing to the northwest here in the Cover Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker.
Take a look at his shot. Can you pull it up? There was some lightning up. Did you see that? It got bright for a hot minute.
I wouldn't be surprised about that here. There you go.
Never mind. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries, you're good. So we're still along 555 right now, pretty close to the Mark Tree and Earl exit here as he's advancing still to the northwest. Worthwhile to note, we did get that severe thunderstorm warning dropped here for all the Mid-South. So right now we are free of severe thunderstorm warnings, but we still do have I would thought that, yeah, okay, they're expiring this at 3 o'clock here, so in the matter of about 30 seconds. They're not going to reissue that. So there's good news within that. There still are going to be flash flood warnings in place here, and I think we're going to see a whole heck of a lot of them here over the next few moments. And that, or next few hours for that matter here. Don't forget, we have this line coming through right now. We are expecting more severe weather to occur later in the day on Saturday. Really between, Ron, feel free to kind of step in as far as when I say the timing here. I'd say between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. here. That's when we still are going to see another round of showers and thunderstorms move through the mid-south here from the west to the east. So the good news is in the matter of just a couple of moments, we should be seeing that severe thunderstorm warning drop here around the mid-south and be free of that severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning for that matter. So there is at least good news within that.
And look, let me just recap. We came on the air this morning just before, was it what, right around 2? Or was it just before? What time was it? 1:15.
Oh, wow.
Wow, we've been on the air for a little while. So we came on the air at about 1:15 as we had a
tornado
warning that was for Woodruff County. That moved on through Cross County. We have confirmation of damage in Wynne, Arkansas. Whether or not it was tornado or straight line wind damage, but there was a distinct signature. There was confirmation, whether it be visual or reported as a result of the damage, of some sort of rotation right there over Wynne, Arkansas. Patrick Ellison, the Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker, he's going to try to make his way into that direction this morning. So hopefully we can bring you some images later this morning on Action News 5. Saturday morning, but we have reports of damage in the area. They're also looking at Tyronza law enforcement searching that area right now to see if they see any signs of damage there. But right now, heavy rain. This is showing some signs of weakening to some degree and transitioning more into a flooding event. So now here we are at 3:01. The severe thunderstorm warning is over. Eric, you're still looking at a shear marker over there. Anything distinctive on that right now?
So keep in mind that this is an area that has a lot of turbulence around right now with that area of low pressure. There's a BTI number that's popping up as a 7.5 right now, and this is looking closer to Lauderdale and Tipton counties right now. You're looking at a wide view of things here. Memphis and Shelby County starting to see some of those showers and storms really start to approach the area. Looking into the far northern portion of Tipton County here, pretty close to Garland. That's where we do have a BTI number now that is at 4.4, but it had momentarily ago been at a 7.5 here. Top of that storm still at about 16,000 feet, and it is moving to the northeast here at a pretty good clip. So that is, oh, we got a new tornado warning actually.
Okay.
Here you go.
Good
For Lauderdale and Mississippi County. So
and you were right on top of that.
So actually,
right
I will say, Rod, it is further to the north. Yeah.
What is that?
So this is going back to, I think, that general area that they had been monitoring here.
Okay.
This is still actually, I think, attached to the original warned storm that was back in Woodruff County. So this is still moving to the northeast here near Osceola.
Looks like that low may be tightening up just a little
Agreed.
bit as it moves on through Osceola. Let me hit that with a scope quickly, and let's take a look at what's going on there. There is some distinctive rotation. You can see it right here. That's it. Looks like it is just to the north of Osceola, Arkansas right now. Let me clear this out of here. I'm going to move this on off the screen and then track it from that little area right there. I'll tell you what, we'll go this way and take it from here, north and east. I'm going to try to move it on through the polygon if I can. All right, so Luxora, 306. Rosa, 312. Should get into O'Donnell Bend at about 317. 324, it's going to move into Burton. So we're looking at an area of rotation that is right there just to the west of Lux. If you are in Luxora, I want you in your storm shelter now. Just get to the lowest floor of your home, away from exterior walls and windows. Get to a safe place. As this is moving on through, we have a tornado warning in effect right now. This tornado warning for Lauderdale and Mississippi counties. This is going to go until 3:30. So as I pan through here, we're going to come on through. Let's show you. Now look, this is going to likely just clip to western Lauderdale County. Ripley, you're pretty much in the clear, but at the same time, I want to watch this little area that's down south of Ripley because I think that may very well come to play in your area. Not tornado warned, but there is some pretty heavy rain associated with it. Looks like it'll get into Cherry at about 310, then moves on into Light Route at about 314, Arp 317, Central 322, Edith 323, Dry Hill 326. So let me zoom out just a little bit. Let's take another look at the big picture here. One active tornado warning at this time. And again, that tornado warning, I'll clear this off first, just to give you a clear view of where we think we may have some rotation just to the north of Osceola and right now bearing down on Luxora. But that tornado warning itself in place until 3:30 for Lauderdale and Mississippi counties. Eric, what are you looking at? You got a pretty decent shear marker, and I thought...
It was there.
Was it there? Okay.
It
so
was there,
it's
and then
now.
it went away.
And I think that's what we're going to deal with. These quick little spin-ups, you know, that could develop right there on the leading edge of that. Very classic.
Well, hey, Ron, if we're just looking at the storm winds here as far as my
wow.
system goes, just to
that.
the northwest of Oak Grove, to the south of Gold Dust, to the
Let me
northeast
step
of
out.
Butler, right along the Mississippi River, we're seeing that bright red pop up here.
Look at that rotation. That is something else.
Ron, that's got to be something. I mean, I know that's broad saying something, but and the rotation detector.
Yeah, it's outside of the tornado warned area, right there around that little Oxbow Lake. Where is that?
So we have Crutcher Lake Road. That's the area we're keeping a close eye on right now, and over towards 4 Mile Lane. If you know anybody near Highway 10, Jim Fullen Road, over towards T. Rossinger Road, and over towards Highway 19. This would be into southwestern Lauderdale County. That's an area to keep an extremely close eye on actually right now here.
And can I point out something on here too?
Absolutely.
Let me, guys, can you pop me in back on my first alert Doppler? Here we go. I'm looking at this little area here. Whenever we see somewhat of an S shape like that, can you see that? That's an indication to us. So we got a little rotation here, here, and here. That's an indication that, yeah, there is some rotation going on within this here. Indication we've got winds going this way, winds going this way. But look at that tight circulation right there.
Hey, National Weather Service saying that they're issuing another tornado warning just for a broad Lauderdale County. So
for that, okay.
I don't know, but they just have as a broad Lauderdale County.
Oh,
so
I keep trying to go back to my map.
I wouldn't be. There you go.
go.
And they're just
Here we
including
go.
that area we were just talking about.
Here we go. Let's take a look at it. All right. So Lauderdale County, get to your storm shelter. And look, this is going to include Ripley, I do believe. Let me throw this in here quickly.
North and west side of Ripley.
All right. Okay. So just to the north of Ripley. But just to be safe, folks in Ripley, if you're up this morning, you're watching, I want you in your storm shelter. Looks like this may stay north of you, but it is going to go until 3:30. It is for Lauderdale County. Then we've got the warning that is just to the north of you. That is for Lauderdale and Mississippi counties, and really more specifically, Mississippi County. But at the same time, we're seeing a couple of areas, distinct areas of rotation that are coming on through there. I also want to put a little slice on this and see what kind of height these storms are getting on them, because that's got to be something else. I'm wondering if we're dealing with low top storms. Oh, and you know, usually whenever we see that rotation, it kicks up a little bit of height right there around that center of circulation. So I see it going from about 10,000 feet. Then I get closer to the area of circulation. It gets up to close to 30,000 feet, Eric. That's what we saw Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. We were seeing that leading edge of the storms, 10, 20,000 feet. And then you get closer to that circulation, and it would jump to 40,000 feet. So what that tells us is we've got some air that's just kind of shooting up right there in the atmosphere. And as this moves on through, it's giving a little bit of a spin. So that is the rotation component of this. And that's what we're looking at this morning. So severe thunderstorm warning canceled, and now 2 tornado warnings. Let's put some tracks on this and show you where it's going to give folks their first alert on who may be impacted by this in the coming minutes. So I'm going to move this over here just a little bit. I want to put this in the center of the screen to some degree. Oh, and we have confirmation. So right now, whenever you see that red polygon and then it's outlined in white, there is confirmation of rotation of a tornado.
So National Weather Service saying that there's a TVS already near Fulton, Tennessee.
A tornadic vortex signature. That's a TVS. So they're seeing that. Let me throw on the scope here. Let's see if I can bring you more specifically. And Eric, I'm going to let you take it down to street level in just a second. But I think we're seeing that right there. So that's where that TVS is. I'm going to move the scope out of the way and let's just track it from that direction. And I'll tell you what, I'm just going to put a wide track on this and track it from right here to the north and northeast through that polygon. So Cherry 313, then it moves into Glimp at about 318, Lightfoot 321, ARP 325. Then we're going to see it get into Ripley at 329. So Ripley and Lauderdale County, 329 should get in there. I'm tracking this at 50 miles per hour. Eric, let me know if I need to adjust my speed. Edith 335, Chick at 338, and then it's going to move into Gates at 342. We've got another area of rotation just to the north of Osceola. That was near Luxora. Looks like it's still right on top of Luxora. So 318, then 316 into Burdett. Burton at 328, Barr 333, Hickman 327, Cooter at 342, should get into Steele right around 345. So Steele, Missouri, you could be clipped by this, and then into Heloise at about 348. So we have 2 tornado warnings right now.
Hey, Ron, we got to keep an eye just north of Covington, too.
Oh, yes, we do, because it looks like there's a little something trying to spin up right there. Lauderdale, Mississippi County till 3:30. Then the one for Lauderdale County, and that is going to impact the town of Ripley. That is going to go until 3:30. So both of these expiring at 3:30. But Eric, I want to toss it over to you to see what it is you're looking at right there in north of Covington, I do believe.
Yep, so this is
north.
north.
I can see it right there.
North Tipton County.
Let's see it. What do you got?
Sure. So as noted, Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers and myself kind of just eyeballing different things. We're keeping a close eye on this really bright, I'm going to call it basically pink area at this point, just to the above and to the left of where Covington is right now, over towards Mount Lebanon, over towards Field Road, Flatiron Road, State Route Highway 3, over towards Pleasant Hill, Highway 371, State Route 371, South Main Street near Henning, over into Crutcher Road, Joe Ballard Road, and the Poplar Grove Cemetery. Those are some areas I want to point out here where you could be seeing a potential tornado moving through that general region. The area that was under the confirmed tornado warning right now, what we're looking at here is over towards Gold Dust, Ashport, over into Lower Fork Road. Let me get rid of some of the stuff that we have popping up here. Highway 19, yet again, this is over into Lauderdale County, Outbounds Road, State Route Highway 19. Further to the north, now we're looking at Barr Road, over towards Watkins Road, Brushy Ridge Road, Hales Point Bar Road. Hopefully this gives you a good idea. Pretty much western Tipton County and western Lauderdale County, not too far away from the Mississippi River itself. Wouldn't be surprised, Ron, if they do put out a tornado warning with that one that's just north of Covington here. So,
well, and that's what I was just now looking at because, and let me go back to that information, Eric. They were looking at a new possible couplet over northern Tipton County. So
that general
it's
vicinity.
Be interesting to see if they're going to issue on that, because what we could have, again, right there on that leading edge of that straight line wind, that stronger wind, these quick little spin ups that are coming into play, and it's almost like one right after the other.
And for those of you looking on your TV screen, the area that we're looking at here is right to the right of where it says Garland, this bright area right in the middle of your screen, essentially. That's the one to keep an eye on.
I tell you what, if you are near Averett, Rialto, Henning, Cherry, get in your storm shelter.
Hurricane Hill.
Yeah.
State Route 371 over towards Joe Barfield Road, Possum.
Yeah, that could come up to you. So if you're along and south of State Route 19, you need to be in your storm shelter. Asbury, that includes you as well, and the town of Ripley, again, in the path of this potential rotation. So Sirens, I'm sure, going off right now in Lauderdale County. That's what you're waking up to. 2 active tornado warnings, both expiring at 3:30. Got about another 16 minutes. No confirmation on it. Not seeing any debris signatures. Have you seen a debris signature? I did not see anything.
I have not, but keep in mind, as far as that one tornado warning goes, that was confirmed that we were talking about. Then they issued that tornado warning just near that Gold Dust area. So
and that's right there north of Cherry right now. That's well, the circulation. I'm wondering it's just now catching up. Oh yeah, it's right there.
Right, this green area is where we're keeping an eye on, where you see that I'm circling with the mouse on your screen.
I was look at the debris signature. That is, I think we may see some light debris, just maybe leaves, things like that, small twigs.
Which area are you eyeballing?
I'm looking area? From Cherry to Avett.
Well, hey, look so just below this area, just south of Cherry, too.
Yeah.
That little blob.
But it's those areas in blue that I'm looking at is the debris that may be being lofted as a result of just the stronger winds coming through there.
Just got a couple of skits, too, looking at 4.2s on there.
No, it's moving off to the east-northeast about 47 miles per hour. So,
and these are, and the National Weather Service saying that these moving to the northeast at 45, and they go in increments of 5 here as far as those warnings go. So that makes sense to go 45.
I'm going to go ahead and keep my track at 50, simply because I would rather give you more advance warning than later warning. So my times may be off by about 5 minutes or so.
But Ron, think about it. If these are moving at 47 miles per hour, 50, I mean, that's quite. And since we're talking about Ripley, Tennessee, it makes sense. Tomato.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right, Eric. But right now, the focus shifting along and east of the Mississippi River into West Tennessee right now. And this.
And we got another warning coming out here for that southeast.
Is that it right there? Wait a minute, let me see.
So there should be 3 warnings that I believe will be out, but these are all stacked on top of each other.
Okay, so I've got one warning here. This is for Mississippi County. Let me see here. That is going to
you
go
have 3 there.
Until 3:30. I'm going to clear that off. So that's Lauderdale and Mississippi County, all right? And that's for this polygon right here. Then we've got the confirmed polygon, and I don't know if I can even get in there. That is for Lauderdale County.
Tight.
You see that flashing right there? Yeah, all that activity is just kind of right here. So tornado warning for Lauderdale County until 3:30. Let's clear this off because now we're looking at another tornado warning just issued. This is for Haywood, Lauderdale, and Tipton counties. That's going to go until 3:45. So let's zoom in. Let's take a close look at that. And let's see if we can give you some tracks on this. I'm going to zoom in just a little tighter, just to give me a better view. There's a lot of lightning in there, I'll tell you that right now. Let's see what we've got here. And I can almost see it. Let me throw the scope up here. And let's see. I believe it's that area right there. It's kind of messy.
Right in the middle of your screen. Yep,
look,
right there.
Right there. But it's also like there's a little something here and there's a little something that wants to form here. Very typical of a bow echo structure. You get these quick little spin ups here. But tell you what, I'm going to move this off the screen and let's track. I'm going to put a track right here, Eric.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's where I need to put that track. All right. So let's do this. Switch here. And I'm just going to do a big fan track. All right. So I'm going to take it into Henning, 324. I'm tracking this at about 50 miles per hour. So I'm giving you a time. It may be about 326 before it gets in there, but it's coming nonetheless. Possum, 326. Then Hurricane Hill, right around 329. Should get into Ripley at 331. Then Central at 335. Nutbush, 338. Dry Hill, 341, and then into Forkadeer at 343. So these are the communities in the path of this storm right now. I think the circulation that was within this warned storm or this confirmed storm may have just kind of mixed out a bit.
Agreed.
I think the one that is also to the north of that, still showing some signs.
I'll give you some pushback on that, Ron. Just south of where it says Blytheville.
Absolutely.
Right above your left hand. Right above your left hand.
Right
Keep
there.
going.
Oh, right here. I see. I see
Bingo.
what you're saying. But look, there's something there too. Let me hit this with a scope quickly. I want to see which one seems to be a little tighter, and you may have a better view on it than I. Oh, yeah, absolutely. My bad, Eric.
No way. Hey, you're good, man.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So there it is right there. I'm going to move this off this direction just a little bit right here. All right. And then we're going to come in here with the track right there. Let's take it on through. And I'm going to move it to the north and northeast. So Burton, 323. Should get into Armorill right around 327. Barfield, 330. Then it moves into Hickman right around 333. Cooter, 336. Tyler, 338. Acorn Center, 341. And then into Heloise at 343. Got a new scan on that right now. It is advancing quickly to the east and northeast. We put this on a loop right now, and you can just see this area. It's a very messy look on the first alert Doppler radar, but there is rotation and circulation in there. Look, we've still got some strong wind coming into play right down here that's just moving through Covington right now.
Wow.
Folks in Covington, northern Tipton County, Covington, you're under a tornado warning, but look at that wind. Throw the velocity on here. That is a wind speed, and look, you see that line right there? That's good view. We're in close proximity to the radar site. You see that? That is a line of strong, strong wind. Let me clear this off. We're going to put a track on that. I'm going to show you where that's going to go. We'll track it just outside the polygon and take it off to the east and northeast. Tabernacle, 323. Cotton Lake, 328. Then moves into Canaan Grove right around 331. Should get into Oakview at about 342. Rudolph, 347. Belle Eagle, 349. And then into Brownsville at 354. But right now we are tracking 3 distinct tornado warnings in close proximity to each other, but moving off to the northeast right now. Eric, what do you got?
Let's keep an eye on the one that's headed towards Ripley. The National Weather Service noting that it's an observed tornado at a TVS northeast of Fort Pillow, Tennessee.
Let's take a look at it.
Sure. Let's dive into it. Come on, let's head on over here.
I want you guys to keep up with Patrick. Let me know where he is, and we'll touch base with him in a moment.
So
all right?
I get the anticipation just as far as looking at a map, directions, and things like that.
Yeah.
I know he's headed towards Wynne, Arkansas. Okay. I think he's going to get there at about 3:45 or so, give or take, within that range. So
all right.
We'll definitely keep a close eye on that, especially as we get close to that time frame. All right, let's dive into it. Just outside of Ripley, this is an area to keep an eye on just to the north of Cherry, Glimp rather. Asbury over towards Possum, Lightfoot, Luckett, along, Bizzle Lane, Paris Road, over into Asbury Road, Grimes, Stone Road, Highway 19. This is looking throughout Lauderdale County right now to the northeast, and the actual city of Ripley as well. Get into that safe place right now. The ability to see a quick little spin up there, it is certainly embedded here as we approach Ripley, Tennessee, this would be. And Ron, notice this debris ball that's popping up here as far as this blue on your screen.
Look, I just got confirmation of debris 1 mile northeast of Osceola. All right, where are you looking right now?
So right now, this is Lauderdale County, yeah.
Okay, so that's cross on over the river from there. So there was confirmation of debris from that area. That was from a train storm spotter. So as that continues to push east and northeast, we're still seeing some debris being lofted into the atmosphere as a result.
Well, Ron, I don't think.
Or is that the other?
This might be
to the south.
Correct. This might be a different storm here.
It's a different storm you're talking about. Yeah. Sorry about that, Eric.
No, hey, you're good. You are good.
I'm still catching up on messages here.
Hey, no worries. So yet again, we're looking over towards Glimp, Lightfoot, Asbury, Bizzle Lane, Highway 19, just on the into Ripley itself. This is Ripley, Tennessee. I do want to make sure I distinguish that as far as it being Ripley, Tennessee, because we do have a Ripley, Mississippi. Ripley, Tennessee, get into that safe place right now. Put as many walls between yourself and the outside world. Get a report over towards Osceola that there is some power outages right now. And since we're talking about that right now, let me go back to the county power and see what we have right now. I know there's a lot on your screen. Let me clear some of this off here. If we look at some of the power outages, and this, keep in mind, Ron, we were looking at this when we first started about 1:30. There wasn't anything here. Memphis had a couple of power outages. Some of the numbers that are popping up, still 100 in Memphis. I believe that's the same. Tipton at about 400. Mississippi County at 100. Over into Poinsett County 100. Wynne, Arkansas about 900. So that has ramped up significantly.
And we do have confirmation of damage in Wynne, Arkansas.
That's a great point.
Makes
so
sense.
Yeah, unfortunately it does. As far as, let me dive back into portions of Lauderdale and Tipton County here.
We do have a TDS approaching Ripley right now. That's a tornadic debris signature, all right? So that is approaching Ripley at this time, and that is visible on the radar. Do you see that right there to the west? That's what you were looking at right there. That blue ball right there. There's another one that is just to the south and east of Ripley. I think that's that leading edge of that storm gust front, and that's lofting a little debris, but there's debris coming in back behind it as well.
And Ron, we over towards Blytheville, they're about to issue another tornado. I mean, we have 4 now as far as tornado warnings.
Okay, so we've got 4 tornado warnings in place right now, all in a cluster. Mississippi, Dyer, Lauderdale County, northern Tipton County, along and north of Covington. So if you are in any of these areas, we're getting the tornadic debris signature. And so if you are in those areas, I want you in your storm shelter. Ripley, get in your storm shelter right now. What's that new skit saying? Let's see what you got.
So let's keep in mind, Ron, this skid is a little behind what we think the actual, and there you go, a little too, it looks like it popped up a little too early on that. But hey, Blytheville through 6.3. That's a pretty significant number.
Up. It is.
That's definitely a significant number here.
Let's just move now to the east of Blytheville. Blytheville, you're in the clear overall. But at the same, or I say in the clear, it's still raining cats and dogs right now, but the stronger winds have now moved to the east of you.
Over towards,
it looks like they may be a little more linear. So from number 9 down to Armorel, you need to be in your storm shelter. Barfield, get in your storm shelter. Same thing for Hickman and Huffman. Get in the safe place in your home or your storm shelter. Eric, you've got some streets popping up there. What do you got?
So State Highway 137, East County Road 122, Levee Road over into Farm Road, Chick Road. This is starting to go east of the Mississippi River now. Great River Road south, Bradleytown, Midway, Bradley Road. This is now looking over into Dyer County. Further to the south here, as far as Ripley goes, we're looking at Ripley, ARP over towards Highway 19, Highway 51. Really, right where Highway 19 and 51 meet here in Lauderdale County. Your first alert, get in that storm shelter right now. Put as many walls between yourself and the outside world, and stay there and hunker down here for a little bit, because these are developing extremely quick. Ron, at first we had
these are rapidly.
We had that first cluster of storms that developed here going back over 2 hours ago now, and it was very obvious where it was, but all these are just popping up here extremely quickly.
Yeah, and that is ejecting rapidly to the north and northeast. The focus really right now into northwest Tennessee. All the greatest concern of severe storms, tornadic activity, primarily north of the 40 corridor, all right? So if you are south of 40 into West Tennessee, northern Mississippi, you're in good shape. But right now we've got this meso low that's moving on through. It's just basically a surface low that's kind of pushing through the area. And we have, as a result, several tornado warnings. So let's put some info on here and let's show you what we're working with right now. The first one, Dyersburg, you are under a tornado warning. Dyer County, Lauderdale County, Mississippi, and Pemiscot County. That's going to go until 4 a.m. Now there's another one that is just to the south and southwest of you. I do believe that's that same couplet. That's going to expire in about 3 minutes. So this one that is for Lauderdale, Mississippi County, but it has now been extended to include Dyer and Pemiscot County, and it has been extended in time to now go until 4 a.m. So let's check on these two that are just to the south, and then we'll zoom in and take a closer look. So we've got debris signatures on both of these storms. So that was what the highlighted polygons are. You see here, we'll track the first one right here. That is going to be for Lauderdale County. That's about to expire in 2 minutes, but we still have the other one that's just to the south and west. That's for Haywood, Lauderdale, and Tipton County. That's going to go until 3:45. So those are some of the communities we're looking at right now. Let me put some tools back on here. I'll clear all this off, and then let's zoom in and take a tight look at what's going on in this area. A lot of just circulation right here. a lot of it, and it is ejecting to the north and northeast. Let's put that loop on there and show you where this is going. So look at this. It's following right along in north of 40, but really the activity now getting set to move into Dyer County, pushing on through Lauderdale County. Crockett County, here's your first alert. It's coming. Northwestern Haywood County, and really from Brownsville north, if you're north of 40, you need to be in the safest place in your home or your storm shelter. Wake up some folks in Dyersburg. If you know anybody that lives there, let them know they're under a tornado warning. They'd likely hear the sirens right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was extended a little farther north and east to include Gibson and Crockett counties as it continues to move in that direction. So let's clear it out. Let's put some tracks on these. Let's show you where this activity is going. I'm going to zoom in just a little tighter. We'll go into this area right here, and let me give you some times. We'll start with this one to the north, right there around Dyer County. And for the Dyer County warned tornado, let's see. I want to look at debris first. It's really tough for me to see on this system. Let's put the scope on here. I'm going to go back to the next radar, and then we'll go to the scope, and that's going to give us some velocity signatures. We'll be able to see. I see a little something. Where am I looking?
Hey Ron, while you're
it right there,
while you're looking at that, National Weather Service extending the tornado watch for Haywood, Penobscot, Lauderdale, Crockett, Weakley, Tipton, Lake, Mississippi, Gibson, Dyer, and Obion counties until 6 a.m. now.
Okay, all right, good deal with that. Tell you what, I'm going to track this from right here, Eric. We're going to take that one. I think there's another one that's just to the southwest of that too. So Tyler, 333, McCarty, 342, Kenfolk Ridge at 345. Should move into Big Boy Junction right around 352, into Evansville at 359, Dyersburg at 402, Ridgely at 405, and then into Gracio at 408. But there's another little area that is right here that is just to the southwest of that, but within that polygon itself, that's going to go into Barr at 330, Bradleytown at 344, should get into Ayers at 351, Kenfolk's Ridge 356. So some of these may be overlapping. Dyersburg 404. There's your first alert. Let's get in that community storm shelter there in Dyersburg, or get in the lowest floor of your home, away from exterior walls and windows. Bishop 406. Then it's going to move into Broadmoor at 410. We'll see it get into New Bern at about 416. So really, this whole leading edge of precipitation right here may be capable of producing a tornado as it pushes on through. I think really a brief spin up possible, but I tell you, let's track that leading edge of the stronger wind. Can you see that right there? Look at that. Let me clear it off. It's where those red and green pixels are coming together. And let's just put a track on this whole line of wind as opposed to the individual cells themselves. I'm also seeing a little bit of rotation back here, but I'm tracking the leading edge of the strong wind that's associated with this. Tyler 335, Bradleytown 340, Kenfolk's Ridge 343. You may hear some of your communities named twice, but again, I'm tracking everything inside this polygon right now. Then Booth's Point at 346. It's going to move into Big Boy Junction at about 352, then into Dyersburg at 401, should move into Folks at about 401 as well, New Bern at 411. I'm going to pan down a little bit, and I want to take a look at this cell that's coming on through. We're now down to 2 tornado warnings, all right, but they're pretty distinctive in nature here. So let me track that little line right there. By the way, that warning, that's going to go, what was that, until 3:45. All right, so we got less than 15 minutes left on that, but let's still track that line of the stronger wind right there. So give you your first alert to where that's going. I'm tracking it outside the polygon because there's some strong wind in northern Haywood County right now. I'm on the leading edge, maybe a little ahead of it. But Curve, 333, Gates, 337, then into Chestnut Bluff, 342, 345 into Maury City. Then it moves into Friendship at 349, should get into Nance at 354, Brazil 359, and into Frog Jump at 404. So a lot of activity this morning, but confined to a relatively small space that includes Mississippi, Dyer, Lauderdale, Northern Haywood County, and Crockett County. You are in the path of all of this, so get ready. And I tell you what, I'm going to put just one big track, and really from along the leading edge there, and let's track it to the northeast. And I want to include Trenton in this. That's Dave Brown's hometown right there. Dyersburg, 345. You're going to get some wind. You're going to get some heavy rain coming through there. Bogota, 352. We'll see that then move on into New Bern at 355. Gates, 4 o'clock. Dyer, 406. Trenton, 410. There's your first alert to the stronger wind, the possibility of some isolated tornadoes coming into Gibson County, and some very heavy rainfall as well. And listen, once that rain begins, it's not going to move out anytime soon, with much more to follow. It will move into Greenfield, 422, and then into Martin at 428. So that's what we have there. Taking a look at the rest of the Mid-South here in the city of Memphis and Shelby County. If you're watching with us this morning, no severe threat at this time for Shelby County, but I think we're going to start to see our flood threat really start to increase rapidly over the next several hours. And as we get into the late morning, middle of the day, we're likely to see a very potent line of storms capable of producing damaging wind, tornadoes, hail, and very heavy rain coming into the city of Memphis, Shelby County, and for much of the Action News 5 coverage area, as this whole system that has just wreaked havoc, plagued the area with torrential rain, isolated tornadoes, damage, and even fatalities, unfortunately. But this whole system will finally move out as the day progresses today, but then flooding becomes a big, big concern for us, and especially for this area right here. So the potential of anywhere from possibly as much as 10 to 15 inches of rain, maybe even some pockets closer to 17, 18 inches of rainfall. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. But right now, that's what we're looking at. And again, 2 tornado warnings, Dyer County, Mississippi County. We've also got Lauderdale County, and I wouldn't be surprised if Crockett County, that was coming your way soon. That's what I'm looking at there. Eric, what have you got for us?
Still just monitoring all these little spin-ups that seem like they're happening here about once every 15 minutes or so, Ron. But
yeah,
I guess if there is any sort of good news, as quickly, the majority of them, as quickly as they spin up, they kind of relax a little bit pretty quickly. So it's a matter of really just trying to anticipate where they're going to form here. And if we look behind me right now, and you want to, let's actually take this full here if we could. Appreciate that. And hey, shout out to everybody that's working in the back. They're working their tails off right now, kind of keeping an eye on things here. Keeping a close eye on some of these little storms and these cells that are just northeast of Ripley. I know this doesn't exactly look like much as far as some of these brighter reds and darker reds right here, but that's the general cluster that we have to keep an eye on here, where some of those brighter reds are, because that's where we get some of those, some of the rotations embedded. And heck, if we rotate this or just kind of put this into motion here over the span of about a half hour, you can really see these start to move around here. It almost looks like it's a wave per se if you were to be at insert lake here, insert ocean here, just as far as the movement of them. So kind of interesting to see that. As far as what we have for tornado warnings right now across the Mid-South, we still do have the tornado warning for Lauderdale County. This is until 3:45. It does include a small portion of Haywood County as well. This was a confirmed tornado, not getting a confirmed on the ground right now, but it has throughout the evolution of it been confirmed on the ground. Another area to keep a close eye on is going to be near Gates. This is into northeastern Lauderdale County. Got to keep an eye where it says Curve, right near Concord Road, Dr. Parks Road, Wilkes Road, over along Highway 51 and near Gates Road. That's another area to really keep a close eye on right now, where we could potentially be seeing some issues around that right now. The other area to keep an eye on is near Chick. This is into Dyer County now, Bradleytown, Stinger over towards Richwoods and Ban Mill. So, Ron, it's amazing, you know, going back to a couple days ago, how we saw a lot of these just forming here quickly, and then they just lasted for a long time.
Yeah.
today they're sprouting up quickly yet again, but they come up, come down, come up, come down. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, we're really seeing what can play out when you have a low pressure center, an upper level or a surface low moving through the area, and you get some straight line wind developing along the leading edge. You get these quick little spin ups. And as a matter of fact, they're looking at a couple of other areas that may have some additional rotation. But I want to note this, the tornado watch, now Cross and Poinsett counties, you've been removed from this. However, Mississippi County remains, as does Tipton, Lauderdale, and Dyer County. But now included in that is Crockett and Haywood County, Gibson County, and points east to the Tennessee River. You're included, and it is now extended to 6 a.m. And that's where the activity is right now. You can see the bulk of it. I want to put this whole thing into motion for you, and you'll get a general idea of what is occurring. But I think as the morning progresses, we get a little closer to about 5 a.m., this should move on out of our coverage area, but we won't be finished with the storms yet. I think we'll transition more to a bit of a rain event, as I'm encouraged by the fact that I'm not seeing anything significant coming here. And we're also starting to see rain now just training over areas that have been saturated with rainfall. So that too helps to stabilize the atmosphere, but also increases the flood threat in this area. That's going to allow this system that is back to the west to start to come together a little better. That's going to tap into a very moisture-rich, warm environment in advance of it. And as a result, I think that final wave pushes through late morning into the early afternoon. That's going to be our last final round, but our next round of strong to severe storms capable of producing damaging wind, large hail, and the possibility of more tornadoes. So we can't let our guard down yet. I want you to get the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. We've already had reports of several communities losing power. I think we've got power out in Osceola. If you've got the First Alert Weather app, keep your cell phones, your tablets, your computers, keep them charged throughout the day. Your laptops, if you scan that QR code right now, that will take you to your app store. You can download the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Couple of things handy with this. You're going to be able to have the interactive radar, and should additional warnings be issued as the day progresses, you'll get your first alert right there on your phone or tablet. I want to go to Patrick right now. We're starting to see some lights, I do believe.
Police cars potentially?
First responders are out there in the area. Let's take a look. Eric, can you tell us where he is? I think he's still on.
So just going off of yet again, now he just looking at where he got off of 555, I was guessing that he was going to get into a win at approximately 345.
He's following these storms, isn't he?
We'll keep it. No, he's trying to look for the damage now,
okay.
I think.
All right.
And he would be getting into win now at about 345. So it kind of makes sense that he would start seeing some safety personnel out ahead there. So just kind of clearly we're seeing this at the same time and for the first time that you guys are. And there certainly is at least some personnel that's straight ahead of him trying to see exactly what we got going on.
Keep an eye on that. I got a new tornado warning. Let me take this because we talked about Crockett County. Guys, come back to me. I've got a new tornado warning that was just issued. We talked about Crockett County being included in this. It now includes the southeastern portion of Dyer County now. So we have two active tornado warnings. The new one just issued moments ago. This is for Crockett, Dyer, Gibson, and Lauderdale counties. This is going to go until 4:15. Then we have the storm or the tornado warning that is just to the north of that. This also for Dyer County, but it also includes not only Dyer, but Mississippi County, Lauderdale, and Pemiscot County. Mississippi County, I think you're almost in the clear. This little area that's just beginning to cross the river, there was some, that was showing a little bit of a debris signature. So we were keeping a close eye on that. But I think the focus for the or the potential for any damaging storms or damaging winds just about to move out of Mississippi County, but still could impact Pemiscot County, and it's starting to bear down now on the town of Dyersburg. So let me zoom in just a little closer. Let's put some tracks on these, and I tell you what, I'm going to track just the line of the heavier precipitation to begin with, just because it is very difficult to determine where these specific little spin-ups are, but I want to give you your first alert to where the strongest winds, the heavier rain, and the possibility of more spin-ups will occur. So 343 into Booth's Point, then into Minglewood at 344, 347 into Big Boy Junction, Middle City 352, gets into Bogota right around 354, Dyersburg 356. We're at 343 right now. You've got 13 minutes or less. Then it's going to move into Cat Corner right around 358. Should get into Lane at about 4 o'clock. So these are the areas that are in the path of the storm itself. The possible rotation with that, I think there's a lot of just little spin-ups along this, and tough to just pick them out individually. So I think it's better. There's a little something that's right here. That started to move into the Missouri boot heel. And I tell you what, let me go ahead and put a track on that specific area, because it looks like I'm not overly impressed by it. Here, let me come back, take a look at this again. Let me move that scope back over. So bear with me for 1 second.
And Ron, we're starting to get rain here at the station. I can hear it on the roof.
Yeah, we'll take a high five shot in just a second. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. Bear with me for 1 second, because I do want to put a track right there. So I'm going to track this. Look, this is in the Missouri boot heel, but this is making its way towards Lake and Obion counties. We did have a fatality as a result of storms that moved through Obion County. We had one fatality there from storms Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So Heloise, 348, McCarty, 352, Kenfolk Ridge, 355, Caruthersville, 4 o'clock. Caruthersville, even though you're not in the polygon, the potential for some damaging wind, possibly some rotation, and an isolated tornado could come through there. So Caruthersville, 4 o'clock. Lenox, 404. Bogota, 411. And then into Gratio, should get in there about 418. Ridgely, by the way, 414. Now, let me put a track on this cell that is just to your south, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to track the leading edge, all right? So let's just track that leading edge of where we could find the stronger winds with this. And I'm going to go just from south of Dyersburg, and we'll track it all the way down to the west of 412, west and southwest of 412. And I'm going to track it outside the polygon too, all right? So here we go with that. Dyersburg, 346. Then we're going to see that get into Crockett. Here we are, 345. So it's really bearing down on you. Strong wind right now, Dyersburg. Crockett Mills, 353. New Bern, 356. Then into Brazil, 403. Yorkville, 403. Dyer should move in at about 408. We'll see it get into Trenton at 413, and then into Kimmery at 420. But we also want to watch this area that's just to the south, because there could be some strong wind moving on through Brownsville. Let me put a loop on this to just show you the activity that's coming through there. It's ejecting in that direction, but just taking a look at the velocity on this, and this is basically the wind, the stronger winds. You can see it right there along that leading edge. So let me come down with this a little bit, and I'll track that strong wind area. And here we go. I'm going to use this track here, and I'll track it from just to the west of Alamo. And Alamo, that is going to come through you, all right? You're going to get some heavy rain and wind here in just a bit. Should start in right around less than 10 minutes. So 354, Brownsville, 346. Then 354 into Alamo, 357 into Jones.
Hey,
Bells,
Ron, western
401.
Crockett County, that's getting bright right there.
Yeah, it is. Right, this little area that's right here. I'm going to let you take this in just a second. Let me run through these communities.
Sure.
Frog Jump, 404. Trenton, 401. 417 into Vaughns Grove. 419 into Humboldt. Eric's looking at this area that is right here. This is just to the west of Alamo. Looks like it's ejecting north and east. I'll come out and take a look at the big picture here. But Eric, you want to talk more specifically about what's coming into Crockett County and Alamo?
Yeah, correct. So let's dive into that right now, giving you a wide view. Everybody here across the Mid-South, no issues in northern Mississippi. We're not worried about you right now. We're looking specifically close right now into Crockett County. So let's dive into that right now. And I know we do have meteorologist Patrick Ellis. He is able and ready to talk here.
Is that an overturned vehicle I'm looking at? I don't know what I'm seeing there.
Hey, Patrick, I believe he is able to talk. What do you want to do right now, Ron?
I want you to look at that first.
Okay.
Let's give a first alert on that, and then let's hear from Patrick.
Sure,
quickly.
sounds good.
My apologies.
No worries, you're fine. You are fine, Ron. Right now, we are taking a close look over into northwestern portions of Crockett County right now. If you're over in Friendship, over towards Broadview, Chestnut Bluff, Crossroads, Pitts Roads. Let's talk about some specific roads right now. Peach Orchid Road, East Road, Lenny Clark Road, Walter Taylor Road, Noble Jones Road, Friendship Eaton Avenue, Blue Point Road, Main Street, really just the town of Friendship as a whole right now. We got to keep a close eye right now in your first alert in Friendship to the potential of a tornado that is headed in your area here. You are under a tornado warning right now. If we back this out a little bit so we can get an idea how long this is in place, this is until 4:15 in the morning here for Crockett County, over into Dyer County, as well as Lauderdale County. You have that tornado warning in place. Fortunately, it's not confirmed on the ground, but you want to treat any sort of tornado warning as if it is confirmed on the ground here. Another look over towards Dyer County. We have two different tornado warnings that are in place for Dyer County. The one that's specifically for Dyersburg, especially on the north and west side of town, that is until 4 a.m. The time right now is 3:49, so we have about another 11 minutes before that is set to expire here. But the way that these have been popping up, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another one that gets issued at some point here. So that is one to keep an eye on right now. Over towards the western portion of Crockett County, just these, when you start seeing these different colors, even if it's not your typical greens and reds that are popping up here, but the darker reds are where you get these quick little spin-ups to occur here, and there's a lot of turbulence that typically happens within this part of the Mid-South. Backing it back out here, no issues right now if you are along or south of I-40. And really, if you're west of I-55 right now, you don't have any issues as far as tornado warnings are concerned. This really is an emphasis right now into the northern portion of the Mid-South here as we get closer to Dyersburg. So we're going to get it back into the picture right now into Dyer County, as well as for Crockett County, over into Lauderdale County, and even into Gibson County for that matter. A lot of these areas where you see this green on your screen, that's an indication that there's at least some spin going on in the sky right now throughout this portion of the Mid-South here. The biggest area, or the biggest rotation area, does look to be just around the Friendship region here. So, Ron, we have these little spin-ups that just have been happening now for better half of an hour or so.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we sent Patrick Ellis into the eye of it, all right? So he is safely in an area where he can report.
And he's in the passenger seat, let's be clear.
In the passenger seat. Patrick, two things. First, how was the drive up there? Second, what are you seeing?
Guys, it was wet, to say the least. You know, one thing I did see going through Tyronza, there was a big highway sign that looked like it had been snapped right off of 555, right before you, in between Tyronza and 550 and Mark Tree. I just got here to Wynn, or at least on the outskirts of Wynn. I'm at Highway 64 and Highway 64B. There was a tree that was crossing the road a couple of minutes ago. They just cleared it, literally, as I was waiting for you guys. They just cleared it. They had a backhoe out there trying to clear that up. I did get a report. I was talking to a sheriff's deputy from Cross County not terribly long ago. He said that there's a tree on a house up here on Arkansas Highway 163, and it looked like, from their perspective when they were coming down, that it looked like the tornado may have lifted from there, but it did go through the area. I'm going to start working my way back towards the city of Wynn. I'm still a little bit far out, maybe about 5 minutes out from Wynn, and there are reports of damage near the country club, as you guys have been mentioning, and we'll get some visuals of that here shortly as I work my way in there. But right now, from Cross County, Patrick Ellis, Action News 5.
All right, buddy, thank you very much. And look, be safe out there. That is the bravest meteorologist I've ever met in my life, okay? I'm a house cat. I like to stay here in the studio at the Chroma Key. He grabs the keys and goes. I love that about that guy. Look, we've got active tornado warnings right now, and we are looking at 2 tornado warnings and 2 overlapping Dyer County. It looks like Mississippi County's now been removed from the tornado warning that was issued earlier.
Correct.
But it still remains for Dyer, Lauderdale, and Pemiscot County. That's going to go until 4 a.m. So this is the portion of the storm we're looking at right here and that does include the town of Dyersburg. Now, we've got another one that is just to the south of that. That tornado warning, this is going to remain until 4:15. So we've got at least another 20 minutes or so of storm tracking to go. But Eric, we still got to keep a close eye on this entire thing as it continues to move off to the north and northeast and brings with it a punch with some very heavy wind. And I tell you what, you were looking at those little vortices right there in northwestern Crockett County. But I tell you what, I want to put a track on that whole line because it extends from right here around, and I just saw a brand new tornado warning. Here, let me go ahead and give you the info on that, and then I'll come back. Well, no, I want to put the track on this first. I promised the track. Let's do it. Here we go. We've got a track, Crockett County. Let's take it on into Gibson County. That is going to go to Brim's Corner at 401, or 453, Brazil 401, Alamo 403. Get in your storm shelter now. Dyer 409, storm shelter. Trenton 413, get in your storm shelter. China Grove 417, Bradford 424, Greenfield 425. Any of these communities, get in the safest place of your home or in your storm shelter right now. Now, let me do a little pan down here because a new warning just issued, and I think it's going to supersede or overlap this issue. They're just basically extending it out, but it's probably going to go until what, 4:30, quarter to 5?
So what do we have?
Yeah,
so 4:45. Good call.
So Dyer, Lake, Obion, and Pemiscot counties. So let's put a track on this. And Eric, I'm going to track, again, the leading line of it, and I'm going to count on you to look for those little individual vortices that may be spinning up along and within it. So let's track it from right here. That's the area of heavier precipitation, and along the area where I think we're seeing the stronger winds right now. So Ridgely 357, then Newbern 403, should get into Elbridge right around 405, Obion 411, then into Mason Hall at 417, Dixie 420, Union City 427, Jordan at 432. A lot of storm anxiety up here around Dyer County, Lauderdale County, even on into Obion County. As I mentioned moments ago, we did have a fatality, a confirmed fatality as a result of storms that moved through late Wednesday night and the early morning hours of Thursday in Obion County. So now we've got a tornado warned storm coming in your direction. I do want to emphasize this is nothing in comparison to what we saw Wednesday night. This is more like a straight line wind event with little vortices within it, little quick spin ups, and that's really what we've been seeing so far. But they do have a history of producing damage. And as a matter of fact, as this was coming on through northeastern Arkansas, as it moved out of Cross County earlier this evening along Highway 64 and north, there were reports of damage in those areas, and now this whole thing ejecting north and east. So you have to treat this with extreme caution as it's moving through, because even the straight line winds can bring down some big trees, do roof damage. We're not looking at those catastrophic tornadoes we had Wednesday night, Thursday morning, but wind is strong and can produce some significant damage nonetheless. Eric, what do you have? What are you looking at?
So, Ron, I think it's worthwhile to point out here, as far as Haywood County goes, don't get me wrong, it's raining pretty hard right now. As far as tornado warned storms or severe thunderstorm warned storms go, you're in the clear right now. If you're in Tipton County, you're in the clear. Mississippi County. And keep in mind, just because I say you're in the clear doesn't mean it's not going to rain extremely hard. And even some small hail embedded, some strong winds, lightning, the whole 9 yards with that. But just as far as the actual severe weather threat goes, it really is isolated into northern portions of the Mid-South right now, specifically for Crockett County, over into Dyer County, into Gibson County, Obion County, Weakley County, and Lake County as of this time. What we have going on for the velocity, nothing's really popping up here that's catching my eye as far as seeing those couplets. The green and the red here starting to really almost overlap each other and create that hook echo that we do talk about here. These are all just quick little spin-ups that happen here, and they happen, I mean, within one scan, you can go from being in it to out of it to back in it again here. Some really strong winds are about to be approaching and moving through Dyersburg here in the matter of a few moments. moments. If we look at some of the potential rotation detector values on here, wouldn't be surprised we do at least have some rotating clouds going on just to the west of Dyersburg. Right now, if we get a little bit closer a look into Ban Mill, that's an area to keep a close eye on. Haynes Road, Bush Road in Evansville. This is yet again looking in Dyer County, over towards Wells Road, South Walker Lane, Gar Hill Road. Some of those areas keep a close eye out for and get to that safe place just to be safe than sorry. No reason not to. We go close to Friendship right now. Now we're back into Crockett County. Friendship Loop Road, or Friendship Eaton Road rather, over towards Elizabeth Road, back into Jared White Road, Harbor Road, over towards Eaton. Those are just a few areas you want to keep a close eye on. And here's your first alert to get into that interior portion of your house right now. A little closer of a look at some of the bigger roads that we have in that area are over towards Riverside Yorkville Road, and looks like this is actually a train line that we have going through here by Forks of the River, and further up to the north here near Curry and Hopewell. So those are hopefully a couple of areas that give you a good idea where we're talking about here into northern Crockett and throughout Dyersburg County right now, as there are tornado warnings in place. 3 of them currently around the Mid-South right now. The one that does include Crockett, Gibson, and Dyer County, that is until 4:15. The one that still technically includes portions of Lauderdale and Dyer County, that is until 4 a.m. The time right now is 3:59, so this is expected to expire in a matter of just just over a minute.
But
and then we have
rotation is still holding together.
It's
right
amazing.
There. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
really.
Can you animate that?
Sure.
Just over the last hour or so, and
sure,
let's check
I
it
got
out, because that was coming. Look at that when it crossed 55. It was more like straight line wind. Then it just kind of tightened up a little bit, but it is still holding together. And yeah, it's rotating. It is certainly rotating. Look at that.
But Ron, would you agree with me as far as just a safe assumption? And you never want to assume, for obvious reasons. If you're aside from being in Dyer, Crockett, Lauderdale counties, and over towards Gibson, Lake Obion, and Weakley counties, you feel like everybody south of that is in a pretty good spot right now?
Yeah, I really do. And look, we even talked earlier tonight, yesterday, I don't even know what day it is, but we talked about the greater probability for the strong to severe storms to be north of the I-40 corridor into northeast Arkansas, northwest Tennessee. And if we take a look at the big picture here, that's what we're seeing. Now look, in Memphis and Shelby County, it's coming down pretty good. As a matter of fact, guys, can we take our Midtown camera? I want to show folks, we've got some heavy rain crossing the river, coming through the medical district, and now in Midtown. Winds, not so much. We're not seeing that much in the way of wind speed here. At one point, the camera was shaking. I was keeping a close eye on it. It was showing some pretty good motion there, but we're just getting rain in Memphis. So folks in Memphis and Shelby County, if you're waking up to the storm coverage here that we are providing here tonight, we've been on the air since just after 1 a.m., another night of storms. Fortunately, not as strong as what we dealt with Wednesday night, but again, not impacting the Memphis metro in the way of severe storms, getting some heavy rain. The focus tonight and this morning right here around northwest Tennessee, but we're also starting to see this whole thing, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. We're starting to see this whole thing eject north and northeast, and that's going to take the stronger winds and the potential for additional tornadoes outside of our coverage area. So once we get this through Haywood County, out of Crockett County and Dyer County, I think we're going to be in good shape. But we then transition to a flood event possible, and we've already got multiple flash flood warnings up here, but we're talking about the potential for massive flooding later today. But along and south of the 40 corridor, including the Memphis area, there could be some potent storms that come through later this morning and into the early part of the afternoon hours. And to tell you what,
hey, we got confirmed tornado near Eaton, or 12 miles west of Trenton, and we got to make sure we keep an eye on Trenton.
Yeah. Take a look at that, and then I want to step over here and get the Futurecast
going,
because I want to give everybody a first alert to what's coming our way later.
Sure. So I'm going to dive right now into, well, the areas we've been talking about. Dyer, Crockett, Gibson County. A lot of those areas have maybe not seen too much rain here over the past few hours, but we do have a tornado confirmed on the ground right now near Eaton. You can see on the top of your screen, confirmed tornado warning. That is set to expire here at 4:15. So if you are headed over towards the general Eaton area, make sure you do take shelter, take cover, and here's your first alert to that. As far as we have potentially now for the debris detector, looks like just to the northeast of Friendship. That's the area to keep a close eye on right now. To talk about some of those roads that are in that area, Bluff Road, and this is yet again into, this is Dyer County or is this Gibson? This is kind of the combination of Dyer, Crockett, and Gibson counties right now near Eaton. Spring Hill over towards Permission Grove Road, Milligan Road, Old Trenton Eaton Road, Gumwood Road, Riverside Yorkville Road, Newt Ray Road, Old Dyersburg Road, Fletcher Road, Bottom Road, over into Fisher Road, Sims Road, Knee Road, Curry Road. What else do we have over there? Ballantyne Road, Curry Road, and specifically into Dyer. Now keep in mind, Dyer is not in Dyer County. That is over in Gibson County. So that is another area to keep a close eye on right now. As far as the velocity values that are on here, it looks like if there's going to be something, it's going to be right in the middle of where Hodson, Brazil, Eaton, and Crockett Mills are, right where this is a little bit darker right now. And the thing I want you to notice how we have some of these greens and reds intersecting each other. This is just the general broad rotation right now where we could be seeing, sorry about that, where we could potentially be seeing a tornado on the ground. But these have been popping up and then they've been dissipating here rather quickly. So these are quick little son of a guns that pop up here and ones that are very difficult to kind of anticipate here, although we've been doing a pretty good job, if I say so myself, between Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers and myself for seeing these pop up and pop down here. So Dyersburg right now, you are still under a tornado warning. Let me pop that back up here to see who's within that given tornado warning. This is for Dyer County, or into Dyer County, over into far southeastern Lake County, over towards Obion County. And then the other one that is around right now, this does include northern Crockett County, eastern Dyer County, and over into Gibson County. That is until 4:15. That first one that I routed off, that was between Lake County, Obion County, and Dyer County. That is until 4:15. And 4:45 for that matter. The one that has the confirmed tornado, and this is a TDS tornado, so I don't actually believe that we've had confirmation of it necessarily being on the ground here, but we are looking close to see if there's any sort of official reports or any damage reports. That is something we will monitor here, I'm sure, in the coming minutes, hours, and quite frankly, days, because folks, I got to tell you, the National Weather Service, they have a lot of different reports and a lot of different findings they're going to have here around the Mid-South with the active weather pattern that we've seen here over the past few days. I know I'm kind of flipping through a lot of stuff and not necessarily announcing exactly what we're looking at here. I'm just trying to look at different things to see if something can draw my attention for there being that confirmed tornado on the ground here, so I can give you that first alert and tell you exactly where we might be monitoring it here. And the best way to do that, quite frankly, is looking at the different products that we have here at Action News 5 and seeing what kind of catches my eye and what looks the most impactful here that we could be monitoring. So the time right now is 4:05. Let me back you back out so you can see what we have going on here throughout all of the Mid-South. We have a line of showers and storms that has engulfed really Memphis and here at Action News 5 in Shelby County right now. That line continues to sag itself down to the south and southeast here, but we have the main area that we're keeping an eye on is to the northeast right now, over towards Dyer, Gibson, Obion, and Crockett counties. So, Ron, I'm going to continue to monitor that. I know you were about to talk about that tornado watch that's around and just the forecast for the rest of the morning.
Yeah, let's take a look at it, because I think we're going to get a little bit of a breather here in the next couple of hours. But this tornado watch goes in for Mississippi, for Tipton, Lauderdale, Dyer, Crockett, Alamo, Gibson County, you're included, points north, Lake and Obion, and to the east, all the way to the Tennessee River. That's going to go till 6 a.m., but I think our threat for severe storms is going to lull just a little bit, but it's the heavier rain that's likely going to continue through 5 a.m. I know this looks a bit ominous, but the atmosphere along and north of the 40 corridor, a bit more stable, some cooler air moving in there, but a lot of moisture continues to flow in from the south and southwest. So radar should look like this at about 5 a.m. with a greater threat for the severe storms or the tornado producing storms just to our east and north of 40. So we get to around 7 a.m. I think we're going to have some pretty heavy downpours in around the area, but I'm not looking at anything in the way of strong to severe storms. Can't rule it out, but I think we'll be in pretty good shape in just dealing with scattered rainfall. However, as we get into the late morning hours, right around 9 o'clock, we're going to see a more potent line developing right around Little Rock, Arkansas, and between 9 and 11. That's going to make a push towards the Mississippi River. And all of these areas along and south of the 40 corridor that have not had rain,
hey, Ron,
that still have a lot of,
I think we should jump over to Patrick's, the Comfort Dynamics First Alert Storm Tracker. He's got some debris, it looks like, out there on the road.
All right, good deal. Let me take you through this because the real critical time for Memphis and areas south is going to come right around between 9 and 11 this morning. That line's going to push through, and along that leading edge all the way down, we could find more tornadoes, damaging wind, very heavy rain, and it progresses east into West Tennessee around 1 o'clock. Could see more Boeing segments, more spin-ups, and that's going to impact northeastern Mississippi as we get into the afternoon. By 3, should be pushing out of the area, but we're going to continue to see rain, and that's when we're likely going to be dealing with flooding conditions. Right now, we've got 2 tornado warnings. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. Let's check out Patrick's live shot. Patrick. There we go. Eric, what are we looking at? Oh, wow. I see debris on the ground. Where is he? Can you tell us?
I'm not actually 100% sure, but you see him playing with the camera right now, moving it around here.
So that must mean he is in the passenger seat.
Correct.
In the back, looking at some debris. I'm not even sure what it is we're looking at. Looks like some sheet metal, some trees
Wait.
down.
He's on.
Okay. All right, Patrick, we see your shot.
So this is in Fitzgerald Crossing.
Okay.
Just to the south and east of Wynn. This is, I got to check and see. I think it's County Road 785. And either it's County Road 785 or 741. I got to check and make sure. But yeah, power lines are down. This is just in the road, and I think that it's a little worse a little farther up from here. There's a power line across the highway, I think that was 284, as you kind of come into town, so they were blocking off the highway there. But yeah, definitely some damage. And when I got out, you could smell that, that pine smell, that mud smell that you get when it's kind of churned up. That's the smell that is currently out. Excuse me. Out here this morning.
And that's a very distinct smell after tornadoes. Very distinct smell after that. Sorry to jump in there.
Hey, Patrick, I know.
Oh, no problem.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going around and kind of showing. I mean, this is this is just some tin, and again over here on this side, power lines are down here, but the power is off on this side of town. So I'm gonna work my way a little farther down, and I'll check in with you guys in just a couple minutes. But
and Patrick,
definitely smell that fresh mud.
Just FYI, we were on that storm as it was moving through. It was showing a very distinct signature, tornadic signature. We followed it on through, and we were pretty concerned about it the moment we saw it. So now you're bringing us visual confirmation of damage, power lines down. You've got the sheet metal out there. Is there debris still flying in the atmosphere? I noticed you coughed a little bit, and oftentimes there's a lot of dust and stuff still in the air. So be careful there.
No, I'm just barely holding on at this point.
I think we all are.
So that's just me being halfway sick.
I tell you what.
But when.
Yeah, okay.
But it does seem like, when we were coming down here, coming down Highway 64B, there's a spot over by Crowley's Ridge Country Club. That's where we got that report. There are a lot of trees down off in kind of the neighborhood. So I think that the track came from basically just behind me and then went in that general direction off to the north and east. I'll turn the camera so you can see me. But again, the city of Wynn itself, I went through, kind of downtown, coming in this direction. It's fine. Lights are on, okay? But it's the south side here, Fitzgerald Crossing, and then on the far eastern side of town as you're heading out towards Levesque and Crowley's Ridge Country Club. That area, we did see the the trees down, the one that was across Highway 64, and then we had a report where I talked to the sheriff's deputy that there was a tree that was on a house over on Arkansas 163, just north and east of where I was previously. So there is some damage here in Cross County from the storm, and I'll work my way back here. The road kind of goes in like a U shape, so probably the next piece of damage is going to be probably a house back here, and we'll see what we can see.
Patrick, we did get confirmation of some damage at JB's Steakhouse. That's on 64B, I do believe. So if you happen to be traversing in and around that area, let us know, get some video, or just jump right in here, all right? We still got another few minutes we're going to go with these tornado warnings we've got, but I think we're just about to a position where we're going to get the severe weather out of here, and we'll be able to transition more into get a little bit of a lull before our next round moves in later this morning. But right now, back with you as we're tracking storms. We've got 3 active tornado warnings right now. Let's take a look at them. First of all, we've still got the tornado warning that's for northern Dyer County. It's now including Lake and Obion counties. That's going to go until 4:45. Now there's another warning that is just to the east of that. This tornado warning and really overlapping warnings. At one point, we had this warning that was for Crockett, Dyer, Gibson County. That's just about to expire in 2 minutes, but it's been replaced now with this tornado warning, and that is going to remain for Gibson, Obion, and Weakley counties. That's going to go until 5 a.m. So there is still a lot of activity out there this morning, but the good news is all of this really starting to eject to the north and northeast, taking that stronger wind outside the Action News 5 coverage area. I do want to zoom in quickly and just give folks in Gibson County a first alert as to where these storms are going to go. We'll track it from the leading edge of the heavier precipitation right now. Let's put a track on this, and I'm going to go just outside the polygon warning and tornado warning and track it to the north and northeast. So Kenton 414, Greenfield's going to move through there about 440, or excuse me, 425, 430 into Martin, Dresden 436, Gleason 442 should make its way into Palmersville at about 448, 455 into Cottage Grove, and we'll see it get into Prometheus right around 5 o'clock. Now there's also a portion of this storm that's going to impact Madison County if it continues moving in that direction. I know that's just outside our coverage area to a bit. Looks like it's going to stay north of the 40 corridor, but I want to put a track on that as well as that continues to move off to the east. So I tell you, let's just track that along 40 as it's likely going to ride along that direction. So Humboldt 417, 426 into Milan. Atwood at 431 should get into Macklemoresville right around 439, 451 into Huntington, 459 Clarksburg, and then we'll see that move into Brewston at 504, Halls at 507. So again, that's outside of our coverage area, but I know many of you may be watching us on Facebook as well as actionnews5.com. By the way, for those who have lost power, I'm talking to, you can't see me right now, but for those of you who are in the path of storms later today, 2 things. I want you to keep your smartphones, tablets, and your laptops fully charged, all right? And I want you to download the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app and the Action News 5 News app, because should you lose power, you can still watch our coverage on your smartphone or your tablet, or you can go to actionnews5.com and watch our coverage there as long as your electronics are fully charged, and we'll hold the charge for a while. Right now, if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to your app store and you can download our app for free. But at this time, still a lot of activity out there. Let me clear this off. Once again, we have 2 active tornado warnings that remain right now, northern Dyer County. At Dyersburg, you are pretty much in the clear. The town of Dyersburg, you're safe. But the stronger winds now moving north into Lake and Obion counties. But Dyer, you will remain under this tornado warning until 4:45, and then we've got the other tornado warning. This is for Gibson County, and that is moving on north into Weakley County, Obion County. You're going to get clipped by this as well. That's going to go until 5 o'clock. So that's what we're looking at there. Let's reset the picture, show you what's going on. These storms back here, and not storms really, just torrential rainfall that's really starting to push on through. That's going to just continue to train in this area throughout the remainder of the morning hours, with more coming in later this afternoon. But that's also going to be followed by a more potent line that should start to approach the Mississippi River right here. And that's where we could see some really strong storms developing for areas east of that, and primarily along and south of the 40 corridor as we get into the late morning and early afternoon hours. And that's most likely to impact the Memphis metro right around 11, 12 o'clock this morning, as this storm system's still coming together back to the west. And as a matter of fact, let's take a look at what's going on the Little Rock radar right now, because look, flooding, no severe storms right now. That's good news. But at the same time, this line right here, that's really going to start to come together as the morning progresses, and that's going to make a push to the east. And folks, that is our final round of strong to severe storms. We are going to be wrapping up about 80 hours of severe weather and severe weather potential in the Action News 5 coverage area. So the end is near, but we still have a few more hours to go, and that's why I want everybody in the Mid-South and around the Action News 5 coverage area to stay weather aware today. More tornadoes are possible. We could see some large hail with this as well, and the potential for some damaging wind. There's also the likelihood of widespread flooding no matter where you are in the Mid-South. And we say it time and time again, if you come to a flooded road, turn around, don't drown. You can put yourself in trouble quickly, and you're also putting first responders' lives at stake when they have to come and rescue you, should you still need rescuing. So something to keep in mind there. Eric, what are you looking at right now?
So I'm still honestly monitoring meteorologist Patrick Ellis as far as the reports that the views that he's bringing on the comfort dynamics. First Alert Storm Tracker. It's what you got to talk.
Can you go back and show that progression of the storm as it came through? I think what was it, Fair Oaks?
Let's see. That was over in Fitzgerald Crossing.
Yeah, that's what it was, Fitzgerald Crossing.
I believe it was Fitzgerald's Crossing.
Yeah,
so let's,
it was Fitzgerald's Crossing.
So this is going back
that
now 3 hours
County.
ago?
Yeah, that was in western Cross County, right there at the cross. And you know what? There you go. There we go.
So we got Wynn, Arkansas right here. Hey, Ron, why don't you go over the top of this? Or if we could, Ron, go to your Viper graphic here, and you could kind of talk this out loud or point stuff out while we're going through this.
All right. Well, we've got, let me pop you up full here.
There you go.
Okay. I'm going to put my draw on here. We had a tornado warning shortly after 1 o'clock. It was for Woodruff County. All right. And very much it was that low pressure center, that meso low that was coming right on through. Then it moves through, gets to Fitzgerald Crossing, and that's when we saw the stronger winds coming through. And really, we were more concerned about straight line winds, but there were some pretty distinctive inflow notches in there indicating the potential for tornadoes. And as we look at the velocity of those storm winds, they really picked up some speed just as they got east of Ellis Chapel, moving on through Smith's Chapel up to McElroy, then came across Fitzgerald Crossing, where we do have reports of damage there, continued to move off to the east, moving through the town of Wynn, that took a direct hit from what we believe was this little possible tornado right here, as that moved off to the east-northeast, doing some damage to the country club in Wynn, Arkansas, and the a steakhouse there, right there on 64B.
So Ron, we're looking as far as those areas you're talking about, where it says Levesque towards the upper right-hand portion of your screen, right towards the edge of your arrow. That's exactly what we're talking about.
And this was at 1:40 this morning. Eric, I'm going to let you go ahead
honestly,
and
Ron,
move forward.
Let's flip it over. I think we should flip it over to Patrick, just because it looks
got new stuff?
he has some sort of damage.
Oh, Patrick, yeah, take that shot live. Can we do it right now? Patrick Ellis, first meteorologist on site there, I do believe. Patrick, where are you? Tell us what you're seeing.
Hey guys, this is going to be County Road 741, and looked like we had some officials here a couple minutes ago, but this it looks like it was a shed, or maybe not a shed, but maybe like a business of sorts, like a garage of sorts. There's a house over here. I can't get the lights not on there, but there's some damage to the house over here. Obviously the power's out as well. But you know, when it comes down to, I mean, obviously this is kind of in a parallel to where I was just a couple minutes ago when I saw the power lines down over there off the other road. So this is maybe about a quarter mile up the road from there, and then over here on the right hand side is a field. I mean, like, it's open field from here. So you know, there's probably going to be some other reported damage back down the road. And as I mentioned, over by Crowley's Ridge Country Club, there is some damage over there. I did see several officials. I was working my way down Highway 64B, and they were kind of checking out an area over there just beyond where 64 and 64B split. Crowley's Ridge Country Club, not far from that area. There's a substation there, energy substation over there in that general vicinity too. But it didn't seem like the power was out in that general area. But like I said, the city of Wynn, the city proper of Wynn, it's fine. The power's on, no problems up there. You know, I came through downtown, everything. This was south of Wynn, and then moved out to the east side of Wynn. So, you know, these folks probably do have a Wynn address, but you know, when it comes down to it, the city itself was fine. Again, the power was on when I came through town not terribly long ago, and then it's kind of this diagonal coming from this side of town, from Fitzgerald Crossing up towards the east side of town, out towards Levesque.
Hey Patrick, I know that you've talked to a couple of officials out there. Have you heard anything as far as any sort of potential injuries or things of that nature, or not really too much right now?
I didn't hear anything. You know, we did hear about the house off on Arkansas Highway 163 that had a tree down on it, and I can't tell because, again, the lighting, obviously it's you know, 4:25 in the morning. The lights, unless I turn the camera, the truck in that direction, I won't be able to see. But there's a house over here on my left-hand side, and it does look like they have damage. I can see people kind of walking around out there to see what's going on. But this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably the debris from the house that is over here. You see the
hey Patrick, we have some very powerful lights on the side of the First Alert Storm Tracker. I'm not sure if you're familiar with where the switch is on that to turn those lights on. It should be able to light that up.
I don't want to blind them.
I
I'm trying to
think,
figure out which one it is.
All right. It may not be a great thing to do right now, but it would give us a better view of what you're seeing there, I do believe. We had those installed recently. I couldn't even tell you where the power switch is on those right now, but that's Patrick's car
it's right in front of me, but I can't, I don't think it's, I got to find the power supply to it.
Okay,
but,
all right.
The person who's up here, you can kind of see.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Turn around.
There you go.
So at least there's a tree down there that's evident in the front yard.
Yeah.
Is that map you have up where Patrick is, Eric?
So Patrick, one more time. You're along, what is it?
Double box?
County Road 746?
741, I think.
Okay.
Give us 1 second, because what I want to do is put your live shot up against the map to give our viewers at home an idea of where you are. So Eric's zooming into that right now. There is 741. Are you at 741?
Yeah.
Okay, zoom out just a little bit, Eric. Guys, can you take a double box with Eric's view and with Patrick's live view? I'm asking a lot right now, but I want to give our viewers at home an idea of exactly where Patrick is in relation to the live shot.
You see, I zoomed in. So this is the crossroad. So 741.0. That's the crossroad here, but the county. I'm on 741 itself.
I think Eric's right on it. Are you right there?
Yeah, it's there. You go. I mean, you got 741 and 741. So
okay.
Yeah, if we could double box, guys, when you get a moment. I know we're asking for a lot. The links are the Barron weather graphics here, and then Patrick's live shot, so we can kind of point out where we're at here. Sure, no worries.
All right. So we're working on, because it's going to help to give you an idea of exactly what we're looking at. We do have confirmation of damage. Whether it was a tornado, we do not know, but there was very strong wind there and a very detailed signature at one point. Eric?
Worthwhile to point out that the tornado warning is canceled for Lake, Dyer, and Obion counties as well.
That's good news. There we go.
All right,
so double. Eric, you want to talk about?
Hey, just watch out, Ron. You got some drawing on there as far as if you want to clear that off there, as far as because this is
okay.
that's
so
still superimposed.
That's still on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, honestly, Ron, if you want, I mean, I'm still.
Let me just step over here and clear it off. I'm going to let you talk.
Sure.
Maybe better to zoom out a little bit.
Gotcha.
And then zoom back in.
Sure. So, okay, let me zoom this back out here so we get a good idea where we're at right now. So you have Memphis on the right-hand side of your screen. You can see wind, and I want to point out this was going back a few hours ago, folks, just so this way we don't have any confusion as to what time this was at here. So we're looking at County Road 741 and another County Road 741. I believe this is the general area where Patrick is right now. So
a lot of farmland there.
A lot of farmland, especially on the east side.
See those homes.
Patrick, you're still here.
That's
Go
what
ahead.
I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say, like here on my right-hand side, this is nothing but a field over here. So again, this is just unfortunately the unlucky folks who got hit by this thing. There's a couple of other houses over in this general area too. But I mean, from this perspective, I mean, obviously, some of their house is sitting right here across the road. But I think that this is like kind of a complex, if you will. When I say complex, it's like a house, and then there's like a shed over on the other side, and it's all kind of encompassing. This is what it is. And then beyond that, obviously. Wow. Storm went in that direction.
Oh, you can even see
and
the path
it went
of
into an open field.
Yeah, it looks like you can see the path of that, Patrick. That is something.
You can kind of see you can kind of see. I would say. I mean, this was a smaller tornado in the grand scheme of things. It's one of those QLCS tornadoes. Because it was along the line. That was the thing. It's like it was along the line. Usually those are really quick to spin up, but it did seem like it progressed and had a TDS or tornadic debris signature all the way from this point all the way over to the country club.
And that's a span of a few miles.
And I think that I'm here, but I'm thinking about folks who are up in Lauderdale County and Mississippi County. We had some of these instances multiple times this morning with these last storms that you guys have been covering.
Yeah, it has. And
so there
Patrick,
may be more of these small scale things.
It blew up quick, really quick. Started off as a very small little area of rotation right there in that QLCS. We were seeing that bow echo come on through Woodruff, then got into Cross, and just blew up quickly. But we have a map up right now of where you are. If you can pop that camera up one more time, just to give our viewers another idea of the damage or another look at the damage. Guys, let's keep the double box up there. Can we do that, please? Keep the double box with the map and with Patrick's live shot in there. So,
hey, Patrick just said he's going to have to hop off here.
Okay, all right. All right, buddy.
Just in case, just want to let you know because I think a sheriff's deputy just pulled up behind me, so I'm gonna go ask if there's anything else real quick. But it's starting to rain here, and if you look over, Eric, I left my jacket there in the weather center, so I'm gonna be soaking wet here in a second.
Hey, real quick before we let you go, what's your plan? Are you gonna continue to roam around there?
I do believe.
Okay.
I do believe Bo's if I'm not mistaken, Bo Bradley may be coming out here to meet me.
Okay.
But I would go ahead and just say that we've got a lot going on here. from the multiple standpoints, as we were just talking about it, it's not just here in Cross County. We had those debris signatures all the way over into portions of Mississippi County. We had issues over in up around. I went through Tyronza on my way here. I went all the way up 555, came down Arkansas 75 to get down here to Cross County. There was a lot of flooding, I will say that. The flooding concern, going back to what we've been talking about, the flood concerns are going to be high on mine as well the next couple of hours. But there's other spots where we've had that debris signature, or debris signatures, I should say, that were going to be, all the way through places like Crockett County and Lauderdale County. So we're not forgetting about you guys. I'm just now way out west.
Yeah.
I can't get back across the river right now. So
Right.
we're just we're trying to work our stuff, and the rain's starting to come back down here after it kind of slackened up a little bit.
All right, buddy. Well, look, we're going to let you continue to roam, follow the damage, come in behind it, bring us reports. Eric and I are going to hold down the fort here. Stay safe. And Patrick, you come to a flooded roadway, what do?
You turn around, you don't drown.
There you go, buddy. All right. Great job this morning. Great job. Patrick Ellis, he's been going for hours on end. He went home, took about a 2-hour nap. I think he'd had about 5 hours of sleep in the last 5 days, 4 days maybe?
Close enough. And I was supposed to come in to do the morning show this morning, so I was already ready to come into work. And then I looked over, and next thing I know, tornado warnings were popping off like it was nothing over here. And of course, you guys have been tracking it all the way, so kudos to you guys as well back at the studio.
All right, well, we've got the morning show. You go on damage patrol. We're wishing you the best, Patrick. Be very careful out there. And look, you come across anything else that is significant, jump right in, all right? We got your shot up. We're ready to go at all times. All right, let's get back to tracking storms here. On the first alert Doppler radar, tornado watch remains in effect now until 6 a.m. Mississippi, Tipton, Lauderdale, Dyer, Crockett, Haywood County also includes Lake, Obion counties, Gibson County, Weakley County, and then points east to the Tennessee River. But I am happy to tell you that a bit more promising look is coming our way. This is Futurecast. I want to show you this again, all right? I know it looks a little ominous, but it's picking up on the heavy rain that's going to continue along and north of the 40 corridor through the morning. The severe weather threat should be just about out of the area. As we get to around 7 o'clock this morning, folks getting up and at 'em, going to start to survey the damage, see what's out there in northeastern Arkansas, northwest Tennessee. The rest of us are going to be dealing primarily with scattered showers, mainly along and north of the 40 corridor. We're going to find temperatures in the low to mid 60s here, but this area right here, it is ripe and juicy. And as the morning progresses into the afternoon hours, we're going to see those temperatures rise just as this part of the storm, the final push, that final leg, makes its way toward the Mississippi River and should be right at the river right around 11 o'clock. Now, I think we're going to be in good shape from, I would say, let's go Lauderdale County to Dyer County and really north of 40 in East Arkansas in the regard to severe weather. Cross and Crittenden, southern Mississippi County, can't completely rule it out, but there's going to be a better probability for strong to severe storms to your south and to your east. And that's where I think we're going to really find things starting to blow up right around 11 o'clock as it makes its way toward the Mississippi River. We go from 11 until 1 o'clock, should be pushing into West Tennessee. This thing may pick up some momentum. We really initially at the beginning of the week thought we were going to be tracking storms well into the early morning hours of Sunday. Looks like we're going to get the severe threat out of here by this afternoon. All right, but at 1 o'clock this afternoon, right here, we may still be tracking tornadoes. And again, mainly south of 40 and into northern Mississippi, where we could find temperatures near 80 degrees this afternoon. So the potential for some of these storms to blow up, produce tornadoes, damaging wind, large hail, that's going to be a very distinct possibility. Then as the afternoon progresses, I think, and the forecast, the Futurecast also showing the greater threat for severe storms pushing to the east into the shoals of Alabama, moving on into Middle Tennessee. What will be left behind, however, is torrential rain that is going to fall on an already rain-soaked ground. That's going to lead to some massive flooding, and I think we're going to be dealing with the potential for some big-time flooding, especially northeast Arkansas, northwest Tennessee. That will continue on into the evening and possibly overnight hours tomorrow night. So this is what we're looking at right now. We've got the stronger winds pushing on through Gibson County, northern Madison County, still dealing with the heavy rain, strong winds that's north of Jackson and along and north of the 40 corridor. The rest of the Action News 5 coverage area now becoming a bit more tranquil, but at the same time, preparing for that final push that will come through later in the morning. Here we are right now at 4:37. No severe thunderstorm warnings anywhere in the coverage area. We're dealing with flood warnings right now and heavy rain that continues through northeast Arkansas and northwest Tennessee. We have seen several hours of rain in this area right here. There could be some big time issues as we get on into the day today as a result of the flooding there. I think we're going to wrap up our coverage, our live coverage with storm tracking right now. Get ready for Action News 5 Saturday morning. Meteorologist Eric Brill has been with me, since yesterday. So before we throw it back to programming and get ready for Action News 5 this morning, Eric, do you have any final thoughts on what we've seen and what we're currently dealing with?
So, Ron, I think you really kind of covered it all up here. As far as any sort of warnings go, those have been dropped from a severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning aspect across the Mid-South. Do want to point that out. As Ron did note, though, we are expecting more showers and storms. Some of those will be strong to severe to move through the Mid-South here as we move into the rest of the day, with an emphasis really between about 9 a.m. to about 3 p.m. What you're looking at your screen behind me right now is an enhanced risk of severe weather that's in place for the majority of the Mid-South. That's that area in orange. The area in yellow, that's a slight risk, and the area in green, that's a marginal risk, albeit outside of the immediate Mid-South here. So, Ron, got to get through today, man. Between the two of us, Patrick Ellis, got to get through today. And
look, to all of you that are at home watching this morning, I want each and every one of you to know we're not leaving until this is gone, all right? So we're going to continue to track this. We're going to regroup, put together some new info, get together the forecast for the morning newscast coming up. And what time do we go on the air?
5.
At 5 a.m. So I need about 20 minutes just to get it together, get the forecast together. We'll see you back here at 5 o'clock. Right now, severe storm threat is out. But in the meantime, stick around, stay tuned to Action.